to be called Future Endeavors. We're going to talk about the recent news of WWE letting go of a bunch of people. We're going to break down almost every talent that was let go and where they would be a great fit, and how maybe spin a positive to this of saying, you know what, it sucks they lost their job, but this might be a rebirth of their careers. Like they might go to another company and become superstars. So we don't want to look at it as just a negative thing, or kind of bring it all down like this coronavirus is ruining everything. This could be a rebirth. This could be a rise from the ashes situation when it comes to professional wrestling. So we're trying to look at it in a positive light, and maybe kind of spin some of that negativity out of this. We do talk about the Pro Wrestling Crate, the new Pro Wrestling Crate that's AEW exclusive. So we do have our link in the bottom if you want to use our referral code to get a new Pro Wrestling Crate. We're going to talk about, did WWE bribe the state of Florida to make them essential? We'll talk about that. And then we'll talk about the late, great Howard Finkel and his passing away, and talk about some of our favorite Howard Finkel moments. If you want to help support our podcast, check us out at Tornado Tag Podcast on Facebook or on Twitter, over on Instagram and Facebook at Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at IWEP Network, or you can search us on any music or podcast platform at IWEP Network, or also on YouTube. When you're there, please hit that like, subscribe button. Help us out. It definitely lets us grow. Share this to your friends. We are looking on the Interviews with Everyday People page for interviews. So if you are a pro wrestler yourself and would like to come on and tell your backstory, a little bit about you, and maybe let your fans know what are you like outside the ring and your history and what you've done growing into the business of wrestling, I'm definitely interested in doing that. So definitely send us a message. And then we're also going to cover Raw, SmackDown, NXT, AEW, and check us out on our merch page. So you can go over to our Facebook page, hit the Shop Now button, and hit some great merch. Blue and Gold's also selling some stuff all over on Pro Wrestling Tees. Just search Team Blue and Gold. And then you can support our friend Brian and Jack over at Murder My Dude at projecthumanoid.com, or hit them up on Facebook and Twitter at Murder My Dude. And they do also have merch pages that you can go and support them. I know those stimulus checks come in. You can help us grow, get new equipment, help us grow, make us become a better podcast. But thank you guys once again for the continued support. And be mindful, we are recording over the phones. So if we do have a little bit of technical difficulty, people cannot obviously shut down their entire house so they can record a podcast. So you may hear background noise. Just be mindful of that, and don't rip us apart too much. But here we go. Here's some No Rain Chicks, and we'll see you on the other side of the music.
You've got the hunger. You've got desire, you've got the look in your eyes. You're on a mission, burning ambition. You've got your eyes on the prize. You've got to rise to the challenge. Show 'em what you've got. Step up and take what's yours. You are kings now, clash of titans.
What's going on, you cool cats and kittens? This is Carol Baskins. No, I'm joking. This is Anthony, and this is Tornado Tag Podcast. I was hoping Andy would have been here, because did you see Elvira has been doing spoofs of Carol Baskins?
No,
I
have seen that.
I put it on Facebook. It's quite amazing. This is going to be episode
How
number.
How crazy is that she's so sexy still, and she's like 80.
Dude,
70,
she's one of the.
like
there's her. What's her name? I just had a brain fart as I was about to say her name. Who played Wonder Woman originally?
Oh yeah! Oh my God!
Linda Carter.
Linda Carter.
There's so many. There's so many pop culture women that are still out there that just look fantastic. Elvira, she legit is a vampire. I don't know whose blood she's drinking, but Jesus Christ, she looks fantastic.
It's so funny when you first said that. I thought you were talking about Carol Baskin. Like, she's not really sexy.
Carol Baskin.
Carol Baskin, that sexy bitch.
I'm not trying to get murdered or get sued. So Carol Baskins is a hot piece of ass. She's
You have
out.
to edit that out.
She can lather me up in fish juice any day she wants.
Sardine oil.
Sardine oil.
Yep.
All right, here comes the lawsuits. Well, speaking of some weird stuff that's going on, this episode is going to be titled Future Endeavors, obviously for the obvious reasons of the week. But before we get into the episode, we do want to talk about the passing away of a wrestler. I'm going to let Brian start this, and then we'll kind of go in, each of us, kind of some of our favorite memories of him, and I'm sure Brian and Andrew, and possibly even Tyler have some cool little history tidbits about him.
I don't know who
Oh God, not me.
I don't know who you're talking about. I think Matt Turner might have something to say.
Oh, Matt Turner. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry, Matt Turner.
That's okay. I'm sure that Andrew guy is a handsome individual.
Yeah, Andrew's cool as hell. He's not here right now. Actually, speaking of another that name, I have another wrestler who I may have an interview coming up with that also who has that first name. So that's why it's stuck in my head, I think. But go ahead.
So, not really a wrestler. He had a few matches, but probably the consensus greatest ring announcer of all time, Howard Finkel, passed away today at the age of 69. He was literally the first employee.
That's Howard Stern thing.
He was literally the first employee of Titan Sports. He was the ring announcer forever. He was an usher. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. I was checking the chat there.
That's okay.
He was an usher at a arena in New Haven, Connecticut, and he wound up giving the arena operator and Vince McMahon Sr. the idea to advertise on the station in Long Island that would go right to New Haven, crystal clear. And he wound up taking that in and becoming a ring announcer. He started up there. He started working his way toward Madison Square Garden, and then he was the voice of that part of WWE for 20 plus years.
I know the term.
Some things.
Real quick, I know the term "grab the brass ring" is something that's used a lot, especially in the WWE. We'll say cult, sure. But Jesus Christmas, you went from an usher in the Coliseum in Connecticut to being the ring announcer of the first WrestleMania. Like, that is awesome. Like, tell me that's not a jump in your life.
Not only that, but he came up with the name WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Vince McMahon, at the first point, Vince McMahon wanted to call it, and I don't see it being as big if this was the name. He wanted to call it the Colossal Tussle.
Wow, that would have been terrible.
Yeah. And Howard Finkel remembered.
Cricket.
Yeah, exactly. Howard Finkel called it. I remembered Beatlemania and said, "Hey, WrestleMania." And then later on, he came up with the name Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, and just for my money, the best ring announcer there's ever been by far.
Yeah, to this day, anytime there's a title change, I always just think of like Howard. Even though even like when Drew McIntyre beat Brock Lesnar, I was just thinking, Howard Finkel saying "and new." It's just like ingrained in your brain that it's always him saying it.
Yeah, he is definitely like the ring announcer or the announcer thing. Obviously, like to me, Howard Finkel was the first, and then it came to like not Michael Buffer, then Bruce Buffer. You know what I mean? Like there's just like
Michael Buffer was not the best wrestling ring announcer though.
No, he sucked as wrestling.
Brett Clark will tell you how bad of a ring announcer Michael Buffer was for wrestling.
Yeah, he was not a good wrestling announcer, but boxing, he's the dude.
Yeah.
Yep.
They made a video game off his tagline. That's how good he was at it.
Yeah, dude, I used to have a toy that it was like you would smack it and you'd be like, "Are you ready to rumble?" And you had to push all this shit. It was really
Speaking
weird.
of lawsuits,
Yeah.
you can't get near that one. They're very protective of that trademark.
Listen,
But
he can sue me and have my $12.
We'll send him a Tornado Tag T-shirt.
It's funny, like just thinking of memories of Howard Finkel. I always remember going to the Philadelphia Spectrum when I was a kid, and he would be the ring announcer most of the time. And just thinking in the very beginning where he's going through the rules, like flash photography is prohibited, and then you would see like a million flash bulbs go off. Or no, video photography was prohibited. And
Yeah.
just he did the whole announcement of giving you the rules of the show, and like who wasn't there and who was replacing them. But he would do it in the same cadence as he would announce a wrestler coming in.
Yeah. I believe now there is a huge thing on the WWE Network of like the best Howard Finkel moments and the huge tribute to him, which is cool.
And like everybody else, he kind of got involved sometimes. You had WrestleMania 9 when it was supposed to be a toga party because it was at Caesar's Palace. He was
You mean the
famous
worst
for-
WrestleMania ever?
No,
Yeah.
two was.
2 was bad. 2, 9.
I don't know. I would rather watch 2 than 9. I fucking hated 9.
2 was pretty bad. I think the only really good thing on 2 were like there's that tag match with the Bulldogs and Valentine and Beefcake
With Ozzy Osbourne.
Yeah. And I think that if I remember right, Tito and JYD against the Funks wasn't too bad. Everything else was like awful though. But with Finkel, that because he was in a toga. The next year they had the Hair Club for Men guy as a celebrity guest, so he wore a toupee that year. And then he got a huge pop at the Garden. I remember he got a huge pop for that. Definitely. And then a couple years after that, he wound up in a feud with Harvey Whippleman. They did a tuxedo match on Raw. We were talking off the air before the show about him in Memphis because they did this thing. It was when Vince was maybe going to go to jail, and they were working really closely with the USWA in Memphis because Jerry Jarrett might have done a lot of work running the company if Vince would have went to jail. And Vince came down as a heel, but so did Finkel. So if you look on YouTube, there's this heel promo that he cuts on Harvey Whippleman. You can find on YouTube, Twitter. He was briefly a heel with Jericho. When Jericho first came in, he was kind of like his Ralphus, and Jericho would always call him Harold Finkel.
Once again, how Jericho somehow weaves his way into every wrestling piece of history of all time.
Of course, he's the GOAT.
I'm convinced he was at WrestleMania 1 somehow.
Well, I know Edge was at 3, or Edge was at 6. Lance Storm was at 4. Maybe Jericho was there. During those times that was playing hockey in New York.
If he wasn't there, he definitely told like 100 people about it who became the most influential people in wrestling history. And they're like, you know what? I credit me watching WrestleMania 1 to Chris Jericho. He was like 11 years old at the time or something crazy. Like he finds a way to get in everything.
And somebody I know, Matt knows very well, CM Punk. One of the things that I think of Howard Finkel, one of his last big things was when Punk was wrestling Del Rio for the title. When he won the title and went on that long run, he had Howard Finkel come out as his personal ring announcer.
Yeah, I got the heads up about that. He texted me. It was either that Saturday or that Sunday morning. He texted me. He's like, hey, you going to watch the Survivor Series? I said, yeah. He's like, wait till you see my entrance. So this is before I got married, and we used to have like pay-per-view parties at my house with my old roommate.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know. I got the Iggy that he's going to have this great entrance. So we thought he was going to do, because I want to see it was the Garden.
It was, yes.
I want to see the show was in the Garden. We thought he was going to have like the Shawn Michaels WrestleMania 12 entrance, but like he had Howard Finkel come out and like he introduced them, and then when he won, he kind of like jumped in the crowd. And I remember texting him after the show, and I was like, hey man, I said, awesome, congratulations, great match. I said, but your entrance really wasn't that good. And I was like, Howard Finkel just introduced you, like that was it. And like he kind of baby faced me a little, so that was a little cool thing because I kind of got the Iggy that he was gonna have a cool entrance, but Punk didn't smart me up as gonna be Howard Finkel. We just thought he'd be doing something like crazy.
Yeah.
A wild Andy Header is under the room.
Quick question for Andrew.
Yeah.
Are you another one of the guys that Punk cut out of his life and stopped texting?
I have not a single bad word to say about CM Punk. None. I mean, I could go on for days of all the great stuff that he's done.
No, I'm not saying he's not a great guy. I'm just saying he cut Colt Cabana out of his life, he cut Kofi out of his life, he cut Hornswoggle out of his life. I was just wondering if you were one of the guys who he also stopped texting for whatever.
I haven't talked to him since the day of WrestleMania 29, and he doesn't owe me anything. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I never heard it. I mean, the only people that I've heard say bad things about him are people that. Some people took the first shot at him first, you know what I mean? Then he's like, all right, well then fuck you, you know what I mean? Like he doesn't seem like he just puts up with nonsense. Like if you're cool with him, you're cool with him. If you're not genuine, he's not going to stick around.
But
I love Punk. Punk's one of my all-time favorites. The only person I would say I feel like he did wrong was Colt. The whole going to court thing. I thought that was a little unnecessary. But besides that,
but just getting back to the thing with Finkel, I think that was just really kind of indicative of what made Punk so special and how he got a certain segment of the fans. So I think that was like really just because that Finkel was somebody like Jim Ross or somebody like that they kind of pushed out too early because he was older and wasn't, as the Briscoes would say, cosmetically pleasing enough. And Punk knew that just bringing him back would be a huge thing, especially in the Garden, especially that night. So good on Punk for doing that.
Yeah, I still think you'll see him in a ring again.
I hope so. He's amazing.
WWE.
I hope so. I still think of his music.
I hope so if he wants to. like guys like him, Daniel Bryan, like, they've earned the right to write their own ticket. If he doesn't want to do it again, then more power to him. But if he wants to, I hope he does.
Well,
I think 100%. I think we're seeing him in AEW for sure at some point, but I don't think Vince wants to work with them in WWE.
I don't know. I think he'll find a way because I everything I've been kind of reading backstage stuff that he wants to work with Daniel Bryan, and Daniel Bryan wants to work with him, and that would be a fantastic match. And if his music ever hit in a WWE arena, the place would explode.
Oh,
for sure.
Drive
And,
tons of money too.
Yeah.
Since he's joined us now, Andy, do you have anything you want to add in on Howard Finkel?
No, are you actually doing a show? I think you guys are just talking.
Yeah, this is the show.
Because it was CM Punk, that's how I was like, oh, I guess I was talking about Punk beforehand.
Yeah.
No, it's just a shame. I heard he was in bad shape, like I said earlier in the chat. I think it was in one of the Comrades podcasts he was talking about him. So
Lawler brought it up on his short-lived podcast. Yeah.
Yeah, so I heard he wasn't doing it, but yeah, I always like to think. I think they should have kept him around for every single WrestleMania. I know they worked for a few years and they got rid of him. They had Lillian, but they should always have him.
Yeah,
Not
they
for
did for a
everything,
while.
but
They did for a while, where like the last couple of WrestleManias, he would just introduce the Hall of Fame class.
Yeah.
Yeah, and everyone has like their Howard Finkel impersonation. With, and the next coming down to the ring, especially the Royal Rumble rules, over the top rope and both feet touch the floor.
And now the man who drew number one.
Yeah. I'll tell you what though, for that being my entire childhood, and then like having Lillian Garcia step in, and then now that she's no longer doing it, like she did a fucking bang up job too. She was really good. I liked her.
Oh, yeah, Lillian's great.
Yeah.
Nobody can rip that mouth.
When she first started, she would bumble names every now and then, but yeah, she obviously got more acclimated to it and got a lot better.
Yeah. Does anyone else have any Howard Finkel moments they want to talk about?
Wasn't he in the gimmick battle royal at one WrestleMania?
17, no.
17.
Was he? I know I think he announced it, but I don't know if he was actually in it.
No, he didn't announce it. Yeah, the only like non-wrestlers that were in it was like Cornette and I think Brother Love.
Yeah, they were both.
That was it.
Alrighty. So we'll dive in real quick. I want to quick talk about this one. So we're talking about Pro Wrestling Crate and how we do the crate they do. They did announce that they're starting a new crate. It's going to be an exclusive AEW crate. The only thing I can't afford another crate, so there's no chance I'm getting that crate. I'm gonna stay with the crate I already have. Same price. You get an autograph, you get 2 T-shirts and some other stuff. So I'm gonna stay with the crate I have, but I'm gonna be really disappointed as if all the AEW stuff that could be in our box is no longer there anymore. That would kind of disappoint me because I did like getting like the Luchasaurus shirts and the Lucha Bros shirts and stuff like that. So yeah, that would definitely be a huge bummer for me. If that's the way it went, but if you are interested I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say I'd be kind of interested in AEW
exclusive
box
crate.
Yeah, just for the shirts. I mean, 2 shirts for $30.
Yeah,
plus all their stuff.
Yeah, man, I can't swing it. Maybe if my crate starts slipping, I'll slip over to the other one. But yeah, if you are interested, look at the links below. We do have a referral code that you can use to get your crate. My crate, I don't know when it comes in because of this whole lockdown thing, but sorry, 1 second, guys. I just have to send this guy. The one guy who I'm starting a new podcast with, he's starting up a Twitter account for the podcast. I just got the verification code, so I'm just sending it to him. So keep an eye on that. I forget. I don't remember what the theme of the box was, but I just know that they said there's a Dusty Rhodes shirt. That's all I remember. I should probably look it up.
Oh yeah, but yeah. Stay tuned for Tony's upcoming podcast, 4 and 12 for Life, coming soon. Podcast near you.
What did you say it was? 4 and 12.
4 and 12 for Life, right? That's what it's called.
All right, that's hilarious. No, it's
I thought of the Skid Row song, 18 of Life. So
yeah,
that's what's going on in my head.
Brian's pretty mighty now that they won their
they got one Super Bowl ring. They're the greatest team of all time now. Oh, no, I'm joking. The theme of the box is USA. Yeah, how did I forget that? Right? It's gonna have Dusty Rhodes.
Fuck, sure.
Yeah, it's gonna have Dusty Rhodes, Kurt Angle, Flip Gordon, Cody, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Sergeant Slaughter, and Lex Luger.
Okay.
Maybe they should have a little Lex Express bus. That would be great.
That would be fantastic. And they already announced next month's box, which this sounds pretty insane. It's called the Top Sellers of Pro Wrestling Tees box. So it's going to have John Moxley,
Young Bucks.
CM Punk, Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, Cody, Zack Ryder, Hangman Page, Mick Foley, and Marty Scurll.
When was Zack Ryder on Pro Wrestling Tees?
What's that?
When was Zack Ryder on Pro Wrestling Tees? Because wasn't he signed?
That's a good question.
20 minutes ago.
I guess maybe.
He's already a top seller.
Yeah, I guess maybe they're giving him the nod.
On there right now.
Yeah, I think maybe they're giving him the nod because when it came to like online digital stuff, he might have been the first guy to really break through in another company. So I guess maybe they're giving him that nod that he did something really cool. Maybe that's the only thing I can think of.
There was a time Dolph had shirts on Pro Wrestling Tees, and he was still signed. So maybe, I don't know, maybe he had that YouTube show. Maybe it's shirts for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Major Brothers podcast possibility. Yeah.
All right. So
that's a perfect segue, I think. To,
yeah, absolutely. Go ahead, Brian. Go ahead. You're on a roll today. I like the way you're flowing. I'm gonna let you roll it here.
Right. So unfortunately, as we all likely know, if you're listening to this, the 15th of April. Beware the Ides of April if you're a WWE wrestler or employee, because they made some serious cuts. They made some heavy cuts across the board. You heard of writers getting released, producers. I'm sure people in the office got released, camera people, ring crew people, pyrotechnics people. I think it was Tugboat, Typhoon, Shockmaster, his son. Uncle Fred, yeah, Big Steel Man. I think I'm running out of gimmicks. he Chic Tugboat. I think his son was their pyro guy for a while, and I don't know if he got laid off because I don't think they're doing pyro in that little performance center. No. But to kind of focus on it, WWE did release quite a few members of their roster yesterday, and what we're planning on doing is just running through the list, kind of getting everybody's thoughts, seeing where they think they're going to go. The first guy, and if you haven't seen his video on Twitter,
this is heartbreaking.
After his release, it is heartbreaking, and it'll tug at your heartstrings. You can bring a tear to a glass eye. Drake Maverick has been released.
Yeah, that one.
I'll go first.
That one sucks. Go ahead, Eddie.
Here's the thing. I feel bad for almost everybody that's got released. I feel bad for him, but I personally would not post a video of me crying on Twitter. And I think he posted it, but nobody else did. I don't know. I wouldn't do that. So it's kind of like the way I think of it. I feel bad for the guy, but I would have done that.
I agree. Listen, in a normal world, that's something I would definitely agree with you in. But here's where I'm like, wow, this is really serious, because how many times have you heard guys just being like, you know what, like, I'm collecting a paycheck to sit at home, not do anything, and I'm getting a WWE paycheck because they don't want me to work somewhere else. And that could have easily been Drake Maverick. Maybe not. They weren't holding him so they couldn't use, because obviously he's not a world beater. Yeah. He's not something a company's gonna definitely probably put him on their back and go from there. But the fact that it meant that much to him. You know what I mean? Like, it was something that he was
right.
That it was just like, man, this is something like I wanted to do for the rest of my whole life. And the whole angle with him and the 24/7 title, which to some people might have been a joke, but that's a highlight for him. Like, that's going to be a moment in his life that's going to be forever. And and he knows that maybe is probably he's never going to get he in his mind, he probably thinks no one else thinks of him as anything credible, and that was pretty much the last of his hoorah. Like, sure, he can go and do the indie circuit and do stuff like that, but at the end of the day, like, once you hit that pinnacle, it's going to be really hard for people to be like, well, how do we do, like, what do I do next? So I think he's just in that really shocked phase where he's just like, what do I do here? And it's just really sad, because I think that shows people too, and it's not like, oh, well, look at him, he cried and got upset, but it shows people like he takes it seriously, and if you were to give him a chance, he's gonna make the best of it.
Yeah, it shows emotion. I mean, he did it. It seemed like they announced the cuts, and like 10 minutes later, his video was up, so it seemed like it was an immediate reaction. So it's like, I see Andy's point where it's just like, yeah, I don't think I would have done it, but at the same time, it shows his emotion.
Yeah.
But who's not to say these guys can't get their job back in 6 months, 12 months, year and a half. I mean, look what happened when Chris Hero was a huge star down at, well, not a huge star, but he was down at FCW, and then he got let go, then he came back to the Indies, mainly Evolve, and he crushed it, and then he got signed back again. So who's not to say, the cream rides is always the top.
Daniel Bryan, remember when he got released and then he came back and
Yeah. Well,
My whole thoughts on it, I thought it was a little weird just because he was the GM of 205 Live. Like, he had an important role. You know,
Nothing on 205 Live is important.
Yeah, they don't
Yeah.
take.
you say that, but for the people who actually watch 205 Live, which is actually a good show, I wish more people
really good
watched
show.
it.
Yeah.
It is a good show, yeah. I'll
Yeah.
just make light of the way they treat it.
But
the way they treated
and
it
like Tony
doesn't
said,
exist.
he was always a part of like the 24/7 Championship, and he's not a bad like manager. I mean, he wasn't a great fit for AOP, but he could have been a good manager for a team. He could have been like a snarmy little heel. I always thought they should have paired him and EC3 together, like they did.
Oh,
in
yeah.
Impact. I mean, it made sense, but they just never went that route.
He was great with comedy. He was great with as they say, showing his ass. Great is just like that smarmy heel or that dopey, just loser that you kind of feel sympathy for. And even going back to his video, and it was sad, and you can go say whatever about like the crying thing. He was also, I think it was him trying to, because he worked in there, that he was having these last 3 matches in NXT in this cruiserweight round robin. I think it was like, hey, I can really show WWE, like I can cut this emotional promo, I can use it to build toward these matches, and maybe he's even thinking if I knock it out of the park, they'll keep me. Maybe that's going through his head.
Yeah, that's true.
I think Brian nailed it. I think that's exactly what his hope is that he will show WWE, look how much this means to me. I'm going to still work my ass off, even though I'm not a part of the company anymore. And he's hoping in the long run they're like, you know what, Drake, you get your job back when this is all said and done.
Yeah, you can't. I cannot fault him for that. He's trying to put that hustle in, just like Hero did, just like Daniel Bryan did, just like Drew McIntyre did, just like his old partner. Well, no, that's the other guy coming up. Sorry, I don't know why I got those two confused.
Yeah.
But yeah, EC3, because that's the next one on the list here. I know Tyler brought up EC3.
Before that, I see Drake easily getting a job.
Oh yeah, he'll get a job.
He's a great wrestler.
Yeah, he is. I mean, he's small, but hey, put him in cruiserweight.
Yeah. I mean, his name before he got signed was Spud, Rockstar Spud. I mean, go on YouTube. The guy's a fantastic in-ring talent.
I think Impact would re-sign him in a heartbeat. I really do.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think there's a chance. I mean, we'll say, AEW's not going to take everybody, but I think there's a chance down the road he can go there. Or possibly.
Oh yeah, especially if they take him with EC3. I could see him be EC3's manager in AEW easily.
Yeah, or even NWA. I can see him working there as a manager.
Oh, he would be great as like a Lord Alfred Hayes type, and that would be amazing.
So there's a guy that he has some opportunity. Like some of these guys, I'm like, I don't know, it's indies and that's the best, but I don't feel will flounder at all.
No, I think he'll be successful, and EC3 is the next name on the list, and you kind of it's good to put those together because when they were in Impact before, they had a lot of chemistry. EC3 just has that great look. He's another guy like Drake that can do comedy as good as anybody else. He's got friends in high places in some companies, so I think he's another guy that might land on his feet here.
Yeah, there's no doubt, in my opinion, that EC3 will be with AEW within a month or two. To me, he's the one guy out of these people who got released who should actually feel blessed that he got released. Because he had nothing going on. They were doing nothing with him.
Yeah,
he was just collecting a paycheck. He wanted to get out of there. So, to me, he probably woke up the day and was like, thank God, finally I got out of here.
Yeah, he hadn't wrestled on TV since November.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Do you remember he beat Ambrose, then Ambrose beat him, then he was on Alexa Bliss's talk show, and then, the only thing he did was 24/7 stuff.
Yeah.
The guy didn't. I'm not even a big EC3 fan, but the guy didn't get a chance.
Listen, you
looked at
you want to make John Moxley the hottest thing in pro wrestling again? Hire that guy and have him wrestle Mox again. It's obviously good chemistry. it'll blow up. You know what I mean? Mox will be the next Cody Rhodes after that match.
I'm not the biggest EC3 fan, but kudos for that guy. I mean, look, he hasn't wrestled on TV. You said it, since November. And look at the shape he's kept himself in.
Yeah, fantastic.
Most of those guys would have been like, I'll skip a day or two at the gym, or I'll cheat on my diet because I'm not being used. But that guy, it seemed like he even worked out even harder.
You know what?
Hey,
sorry, go ahead.
On him. He'll be unemployed for all of a week.
Yeah. The funniest thing was him was when he wasn't being used and he was just going rogue on camera, just acting like he was drunk and always had a solo red cup. People were like, "Yo, this dude has some humor to this." You know what I mean?
Sorry, Tony. If you want to see his humor, go back to the old NXT, back when it was that reality show competition, when he was Derek Bateman. Him and Daniel Bryan and Johnny Curtis, who became Fandango. Maxine, who wound up going to Lucha Underground. Amazingly funny stuff.
Oh, I have to look that up.
Yeah, EC3 just had a short stick since he got to WWE. I mean, he got called up to NXT so fast for no reason. Like, he didn't even get a chance to like be anything in NXT. He was in
Because
a
of his
one
look.
match with Velveteen Dream. He was in a ladder match, and then that was it. He was like right up on the main roster. It was crazy.
Well, I mean, if you look at most guys in pro wrestling, even like it could be indie thing, and this is not throwing shade because getting a physique is not easy. You know what I mean? Especially when you have to work a full time job and get a physique. So you have a guy who like EC3 shows up in your building, and you're like, we need to get him on TV as quick as possible because he looks aesthetically pleasing. And they kind of same with like a female talent where they're like, look how friggin' attractive she is. We need her on a camera right away. And then you're like, I kind of need some more work here. They're like, no. You're fast tracked because you look good. You know what I mean? So it's. I think that it could be like a curse in a way, like where some people would be like
about Austin Theory.
Yeah, but it's just like it's just like
when she,
yeah. I mean, Eve Marie too. Like she was just like, no, please keep me in NXT so I can keep working. They're like, no, honey, you're way too hot to not be on camera. Get in there.
Yeah,
go be terrible. We'll find a way for your top to fall off this week, and it'll be amazing.
And sometimes that helps. Sometimes it's baptism by fire, and for somebody like Lacey Evans, she's rising to the challenge. So,
yeah. But she's cut from a different cloth.
Unfortunately,
you know what I mean?
Unfortunately for EC3, he hasn't even really had the chance. I mean, he gets called up to the main roster and they didn't get
100%.
Yeah, everyone said he's like really good at talking. I haven't listened to a lot of his promos, but like they didn't even let him talk.
Yeah,
remember his whole thing was he wasn't talking.
There's a segment that they did in the old NXT because like it was when you had your pro and he was on the same season as like Brodus Clay, Conor O'Brien, who wanted to be in Conor in the Ascension, was on that one. They did a thing where, and this is the point, I think it was just a web show at this point. It wasn't even on Sci-Fi anymore, and nobody cared. Nobody watched it. They were just goofing off half the time. One of the things they did was, it was almost like the Newlywed Game where they would ask a question of somebody, and the pro had to guess what their rookie would say. And Daniel Bryan was, he was Derek Bateman back then. Daniel Bryan was a pro, and they worked it out beforehand. Like, they didn't know what the questions were going to be, but no matter what the question was, they were going to answer Steve Blackman. And no matter what it was, they were just going to say Steve Blackman. And eventually, and Dolph was on there too. And eventually he gets mad and Dolph just goes, Steve Blackman isn't even a real person.
That's the best way to play the Newlywed Game. It's such a loophole. I like it. All right, we are going a little long on some of these guys, so we have a big list to go through.
The next two will kind of. Oh, sorry. Did you have some?
Yeah. So another thing I want to kind of add, just to kind of remind people, and Andy kind of is late to the party a little bit, but we want to talk about where these people you think would be a good fit. So obviously we talked about Drake Maverick would be a great NWA fit. Where do you think collectively you'll see a guy like EC3 wind up?
AEW.
I think he'll wind up in AEW. I think he'll be a great fit in AEW or Impact or anywhere. He can talk, and on the indie scene, that is a little bit more of a rare commodity than somebody that's like a super wrestler.
Yeah,
and because that is, if there's a hole in EC3's game, that's the hole. But he has so many other things going for him. Where if you put him in NWA, put him in a feud with Eli Drake, you have money.
Yeah. Here's a quick thing I want to put out there before we get too far and too deep into this. You're an AEW guy who signed, or guy or girl who signed. So like let's just put someone who that's kind of was in the scene in this area. You're a Sonny Kiss, right? You've been featured maybe 1 or 2 times on Dark. You're mostly used, but not in like a TV show fashion, right? So you're just kind of paying your dues. You're kind of there. You're one of the initial starties because AEW really didn't have their pick of the litter. And now all of a sudden this thing happens, and WWE lets go a lot of really, really quick pickup talent. Do you think there's going to be some people from AEW that just get buried even deeper?
It's possible.
It depends how many people they bring over, but yeah.
I mean, I think we also have to keep it. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Matt.
No, you guys talk, because I've actually got brought up to me by a gluttony of people yesterday, and I have my 2 cents out of it. You guys go ahead with what you want to say, and then tag me in when you guys are done.
Okay. Go ahead, Brian.
So what I was just going to bring up is that we can kind of play armchair quarterback on this. Even AEW, nobody's showed up in AEW until May 23rd at the earliest because they're taped until Double or Nothing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And other than AEW and WWE, nobody else is running right now. NWA is not running. ROH is not running. Impact is running too. So maybe somebody shows up at Impact right away. Maybe somebody, but like it's going to be a while because we just don't know when these things are starting up again. We don't know when the next NWA Power
and
is.
not
so
only
it's hard
that,
to
but
predict.
for a guy like Sonny Kiss or anybody else there, you have to expect this is going to happen. You can't think just because you signed to the company early that they're not going to sign bigger and better stars once the company starts to get rolling. That's just the way the business works. That's what TNA did. That's what people always talk about. Oh well, TNA took all WWE's talent. WWE's been doing that for years. How many times did they take ECW stars and WCW stars? And that's just what they do.
And they did it with the territories back in the day.
The territories, right.
And I don't want to real quick. I just don't want another thing. I just don't want to say I want to say too. This is something that we've talked about on this podcast for months now. This has been Andy's go-to thing for ever on this podcast. Is I don't want to see.
How long I've been saying they can get rid of 30 people and not even.
Yeah, they can get rid of 30 people, and those 30 people can go to other places and be superstars. So yes, this is a very dark day in wrestling, but it's also a day where WWE could turn around and say, you know what, maybe we should stop hiring people just to bury them. You know what I mean?
And stockpiling.
Stockpiling.
They're hoarding talent.
Yeah, and that's on them. I mean, I don't feel bad for them at all because, look, what did they say? In 2015, there was 150 people on the roster. This is just wrestlers, and this year there was 300, so they doubled the size.
Yeah,
they have more shows, but come on.
And before we tag out to Matt here, I just want to bring up two words that are in every industry, not just wrestling, but every industry in the world right now, except for maybe grocery or a few other things, that can throw a wrench into everything we're talking about. Hiring freeze.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much everything I have to say. Unless somebody else says anything, I'm ready to kind of give the floor to Matt here.
Everybody good?
Yep, we're good. Go ahead.
Yep.
I can go. So I got brought up. The question was proposed to me yesterday. Now that all these guys are gone by WWE, most of them are going to sign. If anybody goes to AEW, they're probably going to sign a non-exclusive contract because AEW only runs once a week, so they'll probably be able to do the indies. So I was brought up, well, this is going to bury you or take you off independent shows. So my thing was, okay, look. So say Anderson and Gallows are on a show that me and Andy had to wrestle at. Okay, say that show averages around 200 people per show. Now it's brought up to 250. Say if their YouTube or Facebook views are 100, now it's brought up to 200. Okay, so that's an extra. I'm just throwing out numbers. So it's an extra 150 eyes that are going to be on said show. First of all, I will lobby like hell to get Anderson and Gallows versus Team Blue and Gold. If for some reason that said promoter who has those two teams on the show doesn't book us, he's an idiot. No, I'm just kidding. But at the same time, if we're on that show, okay, now there's 150 eyes on that show. Extra eyes that are on that show that weren't on the eyes of Matt Turner and Andy Hedder before. So I know Andy Hedder will agree with me, damn well know we are going to get ourselves over and bust our asses more than we've ever done before to get ourselves more over with those extra 150 eyes. Mm-hmm. So these people that are saying, "Oh, we're going to be buried now because these guys are taking over on the indies," that's on you. That you have nobody to blame but the person. That is you have nobody to blame but yourself. Your biggest opponent is that person you look in the mirror every day. That's on you to get yourself over, get yourself on that show. If you usually have a 15-minute match, and now I'm down to 8. Well, then guess what? I'm going to maximize all 8 minutes of that show. But whether it's on my entrance, my exit, whether I cut a promo on the way to the ring, whether it's the way I sell. If I get 4 minutes, I get 4 minutes. If I get 5 minutes, that's 300 seconds. I'm going to maximize every second I can to get myself over with somebody say, man, I went to the show because Anderson and Gallows wrestled Ryder and Hawkins. Oh, man, it was good. But let me tell you about these guys, Matt Turner and Andy Hedder. Man, I never heard of these guys before. Or I've heard of these guys before. Boy, these guys are really good. These guys are standouts. Now I'm going to go to this next show. Now I'm going to track them on social media. Now I'm going to buy their stuff on Pro Wrestling Tees. So people are whining and complaining that they're taking spots, but they should be looking at it as this opportunity. And that's what they're not doing. They're not looking at the positive of it. And that's the way that I'm looking at it. And I'm sure that's the way that Andy's looking at it.
That is the greatest way too, because that is the opposite
and
of
they have
coin.
to wrestle somebody too.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, like, let's say they wrestle any indie guys. You get that match graphic, that's going to blow up right there.
Yep.
Yeah, it was me and Gilbert, but come on, how many people see that? All right.
You'd be surprised, but here's the thing: more
than 2 people. No, I'm saying in a positive way. Like, more people seen that match graphic than 2 other guys from PPW. Not to shit on anybody, but like they remember the Gilbert match and me, and they didn't remember the main event.
Yeah, and listen, so, and then PPW has been, that's why they put you in that situation, because they know someone coming in or someone brand new to the company, they could be like, yo, we could throw him to Andy Header because we know without question Andy's going to take care of him. The kid's not going to get hurt, and he's going to have a great match. It's like that's because you've worked. So here's another thing, and I'm glad you brought this up because it is really quick to put your mind that negative thing. And I'm not saying that's how Sonny Kiss feels or that's how Sonny Kiss should feel, but exactly the way Matt spun it is the way, like, if I was in that situation, is how I would do it. Like, for a couple weeks there, I'm not going to lie, for a week, I was like, man, this quarantine sucks. We can't do the show, And then I was like, no, F that. Like, I will find a way to do this over the phone. I will find ways to keep doing interviews. If I'm home and I'm doing nothing for 8 hours because I'm not working, I'm going to find a way to record. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that, like, this time is not a time to be lazy. This time is not a time to sit back and, I mean, if you're injured or you have something going on, this is the perfect time to rehabilitate. But, like,
Yeah.
Adina Steele, obviously you can't go to a gym. She's at home working her ass off. Like, this is going to be, you know what I mean? Like, I'm sure you guys are doing the same thing as well, but, like, this is the time when wrestling comes back, like, from the indies all the way up. You're going to see who put that work in for this month that they had no chance to do anything, and who's been working on their promos. Social media presence. Are you putting promos out? Are you kicking up your social media game? Are you doing your push-ups, sit-ups, dips at home, doing anything you possibly can to stay fresh? You know what I mean? Like, this is the time to find out if you're a promoter, if you're a company, if you're someone like a PPW, an Outbreak, a True Wrestling, you know what I mean? Like who has been taking this seriously and who really their craft means something, because when they had no opportunity to do it, who took it who took their game to the next level, waiting for it to come back instead of waiting for it to come back and then slowly build your way back into it again. So I do like that you definitely brought that mentality up, and that just goes to show, like, the cut of cloth you coming from where you came from and where you trained from, and some of the amazing people that you've been around and got that mentality from. You know what I mean? So I'm really glad that you brought that up.
And not to put myself over, but I mean, I'm still up. I mean, I used to get up at 3:45 to go to the gym because that's just the only time I was able to do it. I'm still up around 5:30, 5:45. I get my 1.5 run in. I do my push-ups, sit-ups, Scotch 5, a whole 9. I have like a little kickboxing thing in my garage. I still do that constantly. And because now I'm working from home, I have the TV on in the background. I'm constantly watching wrestling. And Andy can tell you how many times I'm texting him. I'm like, hey, man, I watched this. These guys did this. What if we did this? What if we did this? What if we worked this psychology? What if we did this? What if we had this injury? Like, I'm constantly texting him. I know the poor guy's, he's one of the very few people that's actually working.
Yeah.
So I'm probably bothering him. I literally keep a little notebook with me at all times. I'm constantly writing things down. Yeah, exactly. It's once everything, I mean, who knows how long this thing is going to last. I know right as we record this, it's the middle of April. It might be another 2 weeks. It might be another 3 weeks. It might be another month. But it's like, yeah, once the indies get back up and running, and these guys are going to be on these shows, obviously because now they have no income coming in. So now it's just like, well, who are these promoters going to put them with? Are they going to put them up against somebody that's not doing anything, that got fat, that got lazy? Or are they going to put them in the ring with, Matt Turner and Andy Header that are busting their ass?
And got sweet new gear.
Yeah.
New gear.
That gear is fantastic.
We got the sweet new gear, and anytime those teams were, as soon as somebody was released, as soon as a Revival was released, I text Header and I said, that's a match. I said, let me put that graphic up. And then you text me, like, Anderson and Gallows got released. And boom, I write to social media. I'm like, what about this match?
When you make those tags, please tag the page or put it on the page as well. You know what I mean? Because if you're someone who's listening to the podcast, you're hearing it first. I know there's a lot of promotions who listen to us because of the work we put in going to promotions. Blue and Gold is ready for anyone who's on the market. So you have your Kurt Hawkins, Zack Ryder. You have your Revival. You have your anyone who's out there now. Blue and Gold's ready. You want to bring them in. They are there to put that work in, and they're dream matches. You know what I mean? Listen, I'll be there to watch it.
Yeah. So thank you. I just want to get back to Sonny Kiss, and then we can move on to the next guy.
Yeah.
They only use him a little bit here and there, but like, how many guys would kill for that spot? I would.
Yeah.
Matt would. I mean, there's so many people that would love to wrestle on AEW New York. So, I mean, yeah, it sucks he's not getting a push or whatever, but hey, at least he's there. Like Jim Ross says, at least you have a jersey. You're on the team.
Yeah.
Yeah, Matt.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, dude, they get a lot of views.
I would be sitting there like, yo, you know how like in companies they have those T-shirts laying around, especially if you're higher level. I'd be like, yo, can I get an extra one of those shirts just in case? Like, I want to stash those away. All right, so the next guy on the list, Brian.
You kind of just brought them up, but we'll put them as a package deal here. Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder.
I'm going to be honest. I I watched. I mean, obviously as a wrestling fan, I took a huge break from WWE. So when I came back, I think the last thing I seen is everyone popped when Zack Ryder won the IC title, and I didn't get it. I'm gonna be honest. I mean, he looks fantastic, but
Same here.
but I just didn't. I was like, I don't know. Maybe just because I haven't been following. Like, if you turn on wrestling now, there's gonna be guys you're gonna see like an AJ Styles and stuff. But if you didn't see them, you don't see them in the ring. But you're like, well, what makes him so special? You know what I mean? But so I can definitely see that aspect. But he didn't do much for me. And then Kurt Hawkins came in, and he was just a guy who lost every week. So that's a gimmick. I'm already in. You know what I mean? That's me. I love that kind of shit. But then I started following their toy videos and stuff, and I was just like, kind of looking at his personality. I became a fan of Curtis Hawkins. Like, I kind of like his personality and his demeanor. I don't know how he is in the ring, but if he were to get picked up in another company or go somewhere, he would be a guy I'd be excited to kind of jump on his team on somewhere on a platform where he can work, and I'd be excited to see him work outside of the WWE aspect.
And okay.
No, when Cody first asked for his release, I think he was on Jericho's podcast.
You might have to get a little bit closer to your microphone. You're getting a little quiet.
Can you hear me?
Much better, yes.
Okay. When Cody first asked for his release, I think he was on like Jericho's podcast for like 3 months, talking about all the great stuff he was doing. And then Jericho asked
You're getting
him,
quiet again.
I want to say it was Jericho. Jericho asked him who in the WWE would you like to see get that I think would fit what you're doing. He said Zack Ryder, but Zack Ryder is such a WWF guy, WWE guy. Like, that's all where he wanted to work. Where I think that if he went somewhere for a year and a half, and then they saw how well he was doing, that they would bring him back and he'd be even a bigger star. But what buried Zack Ryder is he went and he got over on his own, and they don't like that.
Yeah.
Well, that's exactly the thing. Zack Ryder has proven to WWE that he can make it on his own. Like, just look at the Survivor Series when they were in New York, and the entire crowd. It was a match with The Rock and John Cena versus Miz and R-Truth, and the entire crowd for the main event is chanting, "We want Ryder, we want Ryder," the entire night. That's all they chanted was, "We want Ryder."
But they're the same scumbag fans who will sit there and say, "We want Ryder," and like, let's put a title on Ryder. The fans want it. They're like, "Fuck! Why do they put it on Zack Ryder? That's stupid."
Yeah.
But
Because
when Zack Ryder became United States champion, the crowd went freaking wild.
Yes, they did.
Just horrible booking.
Yeah.
They book him to become United States champion, and then he gets kicked in the dick by Eve, and then he gets thrown off the stage by Kane, and it becomes about John Cena, and they backroaded him completely. And WWE always does that because they don't want you to get over on your own.
If
only
anybody,
want you to get over if they get you over.
Yeah.
If anybody ever in the last 15 years, besides maybe CM Punk, grabbed the brass ring, besides maybe CM Punk and Daniel Bryan, if anybody besides those two ever grabbed the brass ring, it was Zack Ryder, and they punished him for it over and over and over again.
Well, here's a quick segue to a guy, and I know he's going to be on the list later, but another guy on that list who I think could be on that regimen as well, where they gave him the stupidest things to work with, but he found a way to make it the best of it, and people fucking loved it because it was him, Rusev.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. I think Rusev's on the top of the list of most wanted.
It will always be Rusev Day for me. That dude is I love Rusev. Like, I've been a fan of him since the first time I laid eyes on him. Like, this dude is it. Like, he's awesome.
And you know why they didn't do anything with him? Why they buried him?
Because his wife is hot, and they don't think his wife is hot, and they don't think he should have her.
No.
John Morrison syndrome.
No, same reason why they buried Zack Ryder, because he got over on his own.
But they put him on TV, and they're like, we're gonna put him on a really shitty angle where people are gonna think this is so stupid, and he's like, watch me, I'm good at what I do. They will eat out of the palm of my. He walked down during a segment where his wife was cheating on him with another man wearing a Donald Duck shirt, and the crowd went crazy for him.
That was Rusev saying, "I no longer give a fuck."
Yeah, but he's still like, that whole Lana and Rusev thing was the dumbest thing ever. But it was the most watched segment on YouTube for WWE, and they're like, "What are we doing wrong? Like, we cannot bury this guy." So they're like, "Just get him off TV. Just don't put him on TV, because if he gets camera time, they will eat it up."
And the amazing thing is, they started him off as this generic foreign heel, and he was good in the role. He was very good in the role.
He was like a modern day Iron Sheik.
Yeah, he is such an effortless babyface, though. You just immediately like that guy. And it's a great skill to have. And I know in the chat, as far as like where he might go, AEW was. If I'm Tony Khan, I was on the phone with him after the second I saw him that he got
Oh
released.
yeah,
100%.
Rusev is definitely going to be the top guy that gets signed.
Yeah.
Right.
And he's going to get a huge contract from AEW. He's going to be a huge babyface. He's going to be a big time star.
But I know
But
Andy and I are kind of
back to
hoping.
Zack Ryder. Zack Ryder, I think, will be in AEW just because of his relationship with Cody. Like Cody
Yeah,
believes in
he
him
has an
so much.
He posted that thing today, like, and Cody was like praising him, so I would say Zach probably get a job.
Right.
Think so.
If they're gonna hire Dr. Luther because he has friends in high faces, they'll hire Zack Ryder too.
Yeah.
I know.
But to go on here, anybody? You said you're a package deal, so who would be the next guy on the list? I kind of jumped ahead and put Rusev ahead of you.
Yeah, well, Rusev's fine. We'll just finish out Rusev here. I know Andy and I were talking back and forth in the chat about this the other day, the day it happened. We both kind of really want to see Rusev have a little spot in New Japan and wrestle guys like Ishii and wrestle Minoru. Just make the never title the big guy title for a little bit and just have all these big tanks go at each other.
Well,
It'll be great.
Here's a quick question too.
100%.
How many guys do you think will do because they're free agents, and maybe a Rusev that has that star power that can do that, or maybe like a Zack Ryder or Kurt Hawkins could be like, you know what, I could really sharpen my teeth over in Japan, or I could sharpen my teeth here, or go to a company like, if I get signed to an Impact, or I get signed to an NWA, or I get signed to an AEW, you turn around and say, listen, man, I can make X amount of money doing the indie circuits when this starts back up. If you're going to sign me, I want the clause where I can still go work a promotion like Japan, because if anyone's going to be open to that thing, it's going to be a guy like AEW. If I'm a WWE star who has been locked to WWE and can't do anything but WWE, I don't think I'd be really quick to jump the gun and sign another contract like that. Where if you see a guy like Jericho and Moxley and these guys who are getting new AEW contracts where they're like, yeah, you're an AEW guy, but if you work hard enough, or you get the right push, or you talk to the right things, or say the right things in your pitch, well, they'll let you go work New Japan show. They'll let you go work a show here. They'll let you bounce back and forth. I would 100% lean towards that side of the contract where you can be a guy who can work both sides of the fence, because it's never been. It's a new sign of wrestling that is out. It's like foreign to like that was never a thing until like once you hit the indie scene and then you sign to that big name, you're stuck. And that is that wall is breaking, which is kind of cool. And that's the whole idea of AEW, is where they're like, yeah, you could be an AEW guy, but we're open to you going in other places, because if you are on our American television and you go kill in Japan, you're gonna, like, we see as a business side, that's smart for us. You know what I mean?
And that's also going to be something that's going to be beneficial for Ring of Honor, because Ring of Honor has that, at least for the time being, that relationship that they seem to be rebuilding with New Japan. So that's going to be another one.
Ring of Honor right now is licking their chops. They're like, you took everything from us, and now you let 30 people go? We will take whoever wants to come here.
Absolutely. This is a great way for them to fill back up their roster.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And they're doing a good. The last 3 or 4 months, they're doing a really good job. They had a lot of momentum going into their anniversary show a couple weeks ago, and then obviously that's when everything was going.
Marty Scurll was a
Ring of Honor.
huge get for Ring of Honor, like, because everyone's like, he's going AEW, and then they're like, oh my god, he's on NWA Power, and they're like, no, he's a behind the scenes dude at Ring of Honor. You're like, what the fuck is going on here?
he re-signed with Ring of Honor. Yeah, nobody expected him to re-sign.
Yeah,
nobody.
That's a big get, because they thought they were losing another big name.
Yeah, that they need fresh blood in that. Delirious Hunter Johnson's been booking like twice as long as Gabe was, and it's just, you can tell his ideas are just running dry.
Yeah.
Plus Sinclair did not want to spend any money, and they said the Sinclair Broadcasting Network actually has more money than Vince.
Yeah, they have more money than Khan, even.
More money than God.
Yeah. I mean, and I think they're spending like 4.5% of like their income on like Ring of Honor. Like, come on.
Yeah. You wanted to order or not?
Yeah, and I think that's what Marty Scurll said. Like, look, we got all this money. Let's open up our checkbook. Let's start signing some of these guys. And that's what they did. You know, they re-signed Tracy Williams. They re-signed Roosh. Obviously, Marty Scurll got a really good deal. You know, they're starting to bring some of the tag division back. So I'm really excited to see what Ring of Honor is going to do. 2020.
And because of that Japan connection, I could really see these next two maybe having a few things going on in Ring of Honor, and that's Anderson and Gallows.
Yeah, well, you guys seen I shared it in the chat where Gallows posted, he changed his Twitter name back to Machine Gun Carl Anderson, and then he posted that picture of Tokyo, Japan. So I would think in New Japan, he probably called up Ghetto and be like, yeah, we'll bring you back as soon as we come back. So
yeah.
I think that's where he's going.
Tama Tonga put up the 2-finger sign for life, and that seems to be.
You bring him in. I mean, maybe if Gallows wants to go too. I mean, it seems like Anderson definitely wants to go because Gallows owns a tattoo shop. You bring them in, make him look like he's going to join a Bullet Club, and then you have him be a face because they're going to cheer for him.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. Did you see what I will fit? I'm not to jump the gun, but as far as agent goes, Finley got released, and Jay White says he tagged Finley, and he said I tagged Finley and David Finley, Finley's son. He said, "Hey Fit, I have a spot for you in the Bullet Club." And David Finley goes, "Wait a minute."
Yeah.
Jay White's so smart.
I know sending them back to Japan would be fantastic for a Japan fan, but once again, another guys who can definitely break that fourth wall, man. You want to talk about AEW getting a solid tag team division? You bring a team that got released, we'll get into later in the list, and then these guys for the Bucks and all these other people. Holy
Right, if you're talking about the Revival, they're not on the list.
Oh, they were released before that. You're right. Yeah, the Revival.
They were.
Yeah.
Yeah,
right.
the
I hope you're not talking about the Colognes.
Yeah, the Colognes, man.
Colons.
They're gonna be the Colons are gonna be a big commodity. But like
They're already working for their dad in Puerto Rico, so they're going to keep doing that.
Yeah.
But if you want to talk about the Revival, those guys they can have any checkbook they want because they're one of the best tag teams in the world.
Yeah.
And they've been in talks. Listen, I know that's not legally they're allowed to be in talks with AEW, but if you don't think they've been talking to the Bucks behind the scenes, getting this ready, you guys are crazy.
for over a year.
Yeah, they've been setting this up for a year and a half.
the whole F the Revival thing. You don't think that's been a secret message that as soon as they come over, it's going to be a rivalry?
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly.
They're just like, after Blood and Guts, we're going to clear our schedule in. And
That's a good name for them, the Revivalry.
There you go.
yeah, or just keep F the Revival. I feel like we
I
hate
think it's going to be called FTR. They're not
FTR,
it's
yeah.
like it doesn't stand
Yeah,
for
they're
anything.
FTR.
FTR.
I remember they were the mechanics in NXT for a little bit before they were the
They were.
Revival, but I don't think they owned that, so I don't think they can
No.
either.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call them
Megadeth
mechanics.
does.
Yeah, they do.
All right,
Henry,
we are pushing
yeah.
the hour. We are pushing the 55-minute mark. So let's get to that next the next guy on the list, or next person on the list.
Next guy is Eric Young.
Yeah, I mean,
Impact.
yeah,
Yeah, I
Impact,
always liked Eric Young, and I felt that he got a raw deal in WWE.
Impact, Ring of Honor.
Especially now
NWA.
that Impact. I think Impact definitely just because they're in Canada now. They're based out of Canada.
Yeah,
It's an Impact legend. I think it fits like a glove.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
NWA.
I think Impact's the way to go, 100%.
do they
So we're
have
gonna kind of move right along.
do they have giants in
Okay.
NWA, like big giant type dudes?
Oh what Beer City Bruiser and Brian Maloney. What's his name? Maloney.
Yeah,
Camille?
Yeah, Camille.
she
Oh,
is.
but
She-
what's his name? Bram's pretty big.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's move. Sorry, let's move on. I don't want to dwell too much on Eric Rowan. No offense to Eric Rowan, but I want to. We have a lot to cover.
No, this is Eric Young, Tony.
Eric Young. Sorry, Eric Young.
Yeah, from Sanity, which got their legs cut off a little prematurely.
He was their leader,
I
yeah.
said the wrong name. Yeah.
And then maybe he could also reunite with his wife, ODB.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Go ahead.
So the next name, and I know Dave Meltzer
former
is trying
tag
to say.
champions.
I know Dave Meltzer said he could be a good fit with maybe AEW, and I think Janela was trying to court him to AEW, and that's Leo Rush.
Oh, 100%. Why wouldn't you take a Leo Rush? I mean, yes, maybe he does have some mental issues where he does go through some spats where
He's young.
he goes
He's very young.
he goes through some depression or some anxiety, but I don't think that's enough to write somebody off. But I mean, some companies might do that because of it. But I think he's been once he went through his spat where he like WWE kind of let him go, and him kind of coming out and being honest, like, this is something I suffer with. I think a lot of people are like, oh, okay, you know what I mean? Like, they're not like, oh, you're a piece of shit, Leo Rush, you're just a cocky asshole. He's like, no, like, yes, I'm a cocky piece of shit, and I do say some things I don't mean, but like I suffer with some anxiety and depression, and sometimes I say stuff I shouldn't say, and I know it's not an acceptable thing, or it's not an scapegoat or excuse, but I do suffer from this. You know what I mean? I think a lot of people are like, oh, you know what I mean?
And once they brought him back, he was pretty. You didn't hear anything negative. about
Yeah.
him.
No, when he came
Yeah,
back,
I guess I said Mark Henry set him straight. I guess Mark Henry was on somebody's podcast and he pulled him aside and he talked to him.
Oh, good.
yeah,
And knowing that he's in the Baltimore D.C. area, knowing just the way he wrestles and everything, I think this is the guy Ring of Honor should be calling.
yeah.
1,000%. If I'm Marty Scroll, this is the first out of everybody that got released. This is the first guy I'm going for. 1,000%.
Yeah, I think he would be best off from Ring of Honor. I mean, what AEW calls, yeah, and if New Japan calls, sure.
Ring of Honor, he would be a big fish in a small pond, and I think it would be a great fit for him.
Yeah, he was there
Absolutely.
before. He was there for about a year and change. He just started getting a big portion. That's when NXT called.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we just got to get you a little
my-
closer to your mic again, Matt. I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, no, he was in Ring of Honor. He won their Young Lions tournament, the Top Prospect tournament, and then he wrestled. I want to say was it Marty Scurll at a pay-per-view for the TV title, and then he's starting to get a big push, and then NXT came calling.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was leaning towards AEW, but you guys convinced me. I think Ring of Honor would be the spot for him.
Yeah.
Imagine him in Best of Super Juniors next year in New Japan.
That'd be excellent.
Oh my God. Could you imagine, or even like, I know he's not maybe size-wise because he put some weight on, but like him in a Will Ospreay match?
Yeah.
Holy
Yeah, Will's doing heavyweight, but they mix and match a little bit. But yeah, definitely the Super Junior, 100%.
Yeah. Wow. If Leo Rush went to Japan, I'd be excited. Like that would be a name that would make me
too.
jump. And I know there's huge names in Japan, and it made me sound like a jerk for saying it. But you have to realize, like, I'm coming from a fan who only watched one promotion for a long time, so I don't really know much about Japan. Like, I know guys came from there and they built up great names, but like, if a name like Leo Rush went over to Japan, or even like a name like Rusev, that would spark my interest to go watch some stuff over there.
Definitely, when you have a bankable name like that, New Japan World exploded when they got Jericho.
Yeah,
and obviously none of these guys is going to be at that level of impact. But
my first New
like
Japan thing I've ever watched, I didn't watch the whole card, but I watched the Jericho and Kenny Omega match.
Kenny Omega.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think Leo Rush is going to have a problem getting the job.
Yeah,
absolutely not.
All right, next on the list.
The next guy, and this is another guy. Just personally, I would think, like Ring of Honor, this guy would be perfect as a guy backstage, a guy to keep things presence for the younger guys, maybe even an on-camera authority figure. Kurt Angle.
Yeah, I mean, maybe even...
Yeah, he can't wrestle anymore, but like, who wouldn't want him like as some type of involvement in the company?
What if you put him
And
back?
my thing is,
what if you put him back in
I don't
Impact?
I just don't see Kurt Angle going to Ring of Honor. I feel like Kurt is not going to go somewhere unless it's a big company.
That's
Mhm.
yeah.
So I could see Kurt taking some kind of backstage role to AEW. I think he'd be a big help there if he was a backstage figure.
What if he swerved everybody, went to AEW, and he became like a Jake the Snake style thing where he just managed somebody?
I'd be all right with that. I don't know who.
Yeah, I'd be fine with
fan,
that.
but yeah,
If you maybe
he's a
separated
good
Hager
talker.
from the inner circle, you could make him be like Hager's like trainer. You can do something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. I mean, one of the best wrestlers of the past generation. So I mean, he'll find his spot somewhere.
Yeah, 100%. I'm a big Angle fan. It's true. It's damn true.
Next guy on the list is Heath Slater.
There's a guy that I don't really see much past the Indies for him.
Yeah, I agree.
I think he could do pretty well for himself in the Indies, but yeah,
I think he would
maybe
kill.
NWA.
You owe me pictures.
I think he'd kill.
Yeah, NWA.
I think he'd kill it in the Indies. I'm gonna be honest. If a PPW was like, "Hey, we're getting Heath Slater this show," I'd be excited for it.
Yeah, I mean, he'll do well in the Indies, but like, AEW really after him. New Japan, no, and maybe Impact.
Dude, could you
I
imagine
don't
him
think-
on
I
the? Could you imagine him on the indie circuit?
NWA.
Him on the indie
Oh, he'd be
circuit
fun. Yeah.
with the "Please come to this show, I got kids." Like he just keeps rolling with that
Oh,
thing.
Yeah.
He would kill it. He would kill it. He could, if he works it the right way, he could be the next Joey, like the next Joey Ryan.
I don't know about that.
I honestly think he can. Like he does that whole white blue collar wrestling. Like I got kids, man. You need to buy an autograph. Like he would. I think he would. I think it'd be funny.
I think he would do really well as far as getting booked every weekend and sell a lot of pictures and stuff. I think he would do very well with that.
Yeah, I think he'd do very.
I think he would do great in the NWA. I think he would be excellent.
Yeah, the disconnect with him is he's not bad in the ring. He's just not. You don't watch a Heath Slater match. Go, oh my god. I mean, yeah, he hasn't really been able to, but like even when he was, like, you know.
Or maybe Impact, and you put him with Rhino again. That was a fun team.
Yeah, there you go.
Or listen,
I'm into
that Destiny can intervene right here, okay? 3MB, Jinder Mahal got fired. He got super jacked.
No!
He got super jacked, came back, became world champion. Drew McIntyre got released. Got super jacked, came back, became world champion. Heath Slater's gonna leave for like 2 years, come back super freaking ripped.
He's gonna come back like
world
Brock
champion.
Lesnar.
Yeah, he's gonna come back.
He's going to be in the Indies because there's no wellness policy.
Yeah, I was going to say they don't drug test on the Indies.
Yep,
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
gonna come back super jacked and become the next NXT world champion.
Take
You know, guys, we're talking.
take
You never
pictures.
know.
Take pictures now. of Heath Slater's neck, because after he goes on the indie scene, you're never gonna see it again.
Don't worry, I already have a meme going that I'm going to post on the page where you see this meme I made of Heath Slater.
Someone who's good at
You know,
Photoshop needs to Photoshop Heath Slater as like when Overeem went from 185 to 300 pounds of solid muscle in 6 months.
Oh yeah, over in Pride.
Don't worry, I got you. I'll post it now.
He finally found out light heavyweight and Pride. But, guys, we're talking about all these where everybody's going to wind up. We never talked about MLW. MLW's been on a roll these last 2 years. I mean, they keep growing that company. There's another place where some of these guys might wind up.
Or what is it? What is it? GCW? I mean, you get a big name in yeah. They've been really blowing up the scene when it just comes to indie guys, but they get a big name in their company, they can do some stuff as well.
Rush would be a good fit there.
There's an act on this list that MLW I think might be a logical progression for them.
All right, and who do we got next?
Well, next, this isn't the MLW person I was thinking, but next is Aiden English.
This one I'm shocked. I'm honestly shocked with this one because he's a guy who isn't he married to Guerrero's daughter?
Yeah, he's married.
Yes.
I thought that was enough.
Her too, or she quit, I think.
Yeah, I thought that was enough to keep him on board. But from what I heard, he's very versatile. He can go in the ring. He can go behind a mic. He can do pretty much anything you ask of him. He could be a behind the scenes guy. He could be a trainer. I don't see him having a problem.
Announcing,
announcing. I don't see him having.
Back with Simon Grimm. What's his name?
I would stay away from Grimm. I don't know.
Simon Gotch, yeah.
I would stay away from. I would stay away from Gotch.
He's kind of like a black hole, but I'm just saying that's a possibility.
Yeah.
I mean, when they were in NXT, they were popular, and they brought him up, and it was like.
Yeah, Simon Gotch. Simon Grimm is really good. He does more of like a jiu-jitsu style.
Yeah.
Which is like right up my alley. But I mean, who's got to say that they couldn't put Rusev back with Aiden English and do the Rusev tag team somewhere?
Yeah. I wonder if he would still be allowed to be Rusev somewhere else, though.
I don't know.
No, he'd be like Miro or Miroslav, something like that.
Yeah.
I think they have the copyright for that.
Aiden English is another guy. I think that singing thing kind of fits in with NWA Power a little bit, like what Aaron Stevens is doing and things like that. That he would fit like a glove there.
I'll tell you what, he was one of the guys when we went to the SmackDown show in Wilkes-Barre. We were like, "Yo, English," and he turned around and he gave us like a wave and a bow. Like he definitely still plays to the crowd. Like I don't know, I think I could be wrong, but just my judge of character alarm goes off, and I just feel like he's a pretty chill dude.
Next one is Sarah Logan.
Yeah,
Shimmer.
Yeah, I think she has a lot of potential.
Ring of Honor, maybe.
Ring of Honor possibly.
They need her. Yeah, they need her.
I don't really see AEW going after her just because people don't really know much about her because she never really had a chance to shine, and I mean she never.
She lost a lot of weight and she
did.
Yeah, I don't know. AEW. I think when it comes to the women division, I would take whoever you can get.
Yeah, because their division is so poor, so they should sign whoever they can.
Somebody brought it up. I forget who, but GCW. She's done a lot of the hardcore stuff in the indies before. She was Crazy Mary Dobson. Yeah. GCW and Sarah Logan might be a fit.
Hey, you never know.
She's another one. Wherever she goes, I would support. I just the whole team of like watching the Riot Squad behind the scenes and just watching their friendship and seeing kind of all like I'm a person who obviously I'm a fan of you in the ring, but I will follow what you kind of do outside the ring a little bit to see how your actual character is. And I've never seen anything about Sarah Logan that I wasn't a fan of.
And then the next name is, and this one is, I don't know if he's going to go anywhere. I think it's WWE or bust for this guy because he's a lifer. Referee Mike Chioda.
Yeah, I mean, that guy probably has so much money. I mean, I'm surprised they got rid of him, but I don't know. Does he even want to referee anywhere else? I don't know.
Autograph sessions, he'll probably do podcasts, stuff like that.
Yeah. And he'll be all right doing wrestling.
I'm assuming he's probably just going to retire. And
I don't know. I could see him fitting into the AEW scheme. A bunch of guys over there like, yo, Chioda's available. You should grab him.
Yeah,
I don't think they need refs, really.
Yeah, they kind of full on refs, but I mean, you never know.
I would bring him. I would bring him into the fold, even if he doesn't referee. Maybe like an advisor, like, hey, guys, like you're doing things well, but just maybe here's some ideas or tips.
You're just trying to get rid of Matt's cousin Paul Turner in AEW, aren't you?
Yeah, that's all.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Hey,
I'm a fan of AEW. I think AEW refs are fantastic. I really enjoy the referee work in AEW.
I love Bryce Remsburg, so I'm all about the AEW refs.
I mean, they're getting better if you just completely ignore logic when they just stand there and watch people interfere in matches and hit people with weapons that don't disqualify.
See, I think they're getting better at that. And you know who got really
absolutely.
You know who got really good at putting herself in the right situation so she doesn't look stupid? Is it Aubrey? What's her name? Aubrey?
Yeah. Well, apparently Jericho took them backstage and said,
too.
about to the refs, like, hey, why are we letting all this go on? And like, idiots here.
I honestly, the Aubrey where Penelope Ford went in and did this, like she put herself in the right position, and then she kind of gave the glance like, what the hell was that? And then she's like, oh shit, this. Like, I think she sold that as a referee marvelously. We'll get into the AEW thing later, but I'm a big fan of hers. I think she's really good as a referee.
And we kind of jumped the gun on this one a little earlier. Eric Rowan. That was one that surprised me a little bit. Eric Rowan.
Me too. There's a guy that I think is just a WWE guy, and that's about it. Yeah, the Indies will bring him in, but like, I don't know. I think the best he ever did was when he was dating Brian Teeter.
Yeah.
Yep. And other than that, I mean, the guy doesn't have that much charisma. Yeah, he's big, but I mean, then like Bruce Prichard says, then that bell has to ring. So I don't know. Maybe Impact.
Yeah, well, he'll make a lot of money on the Indies. There's another thing that you got to think about with these guys are going to be working. You know, they do have that open contract where they, you know, work here and there for AEW or they work whatever. But I mean, if I'm these guys, I definitely want to do Indies because your merch is going to be hot.
Oh yeah,
definitely.
Picture, autograph, T-shirts. I mean, these guys say they make $1,000 per show. I'm just using an example. Then they can make like $500 on merch. So say they work twice a week. Well, there's $3,000 just by working twice a week.
Yeah, they could all set up, and they can all set up pro wrestling tee stores. They can all do Cameo. There's a lot of avenues for them to make some money now.
Yeah, absolutely. Bet on yourself. Bet on yourself.
And then the next ones, and we kind of touched on these guys too. Primo and Epico, the Colones.
They'll probably just wrestle for
Puerto Rico.
WWC, yep. They're already wrestling there.
There's some guys that, like, hey, they're lucky they were there for as long as they were. I mean, when's the last time they were on TV?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not trying to shoot the gun here, but my phone is blowing up. I just added the Twitter account for that Redskins page. There's like already like a bunch of really notable Redskins podcasters that are already following our page because the guy who I'm doing the thing with is, I guess, like a Twitter legend when it comes to like the Redskins community and his connections with people. You just see some of the crazy we're getting like already messages from other people that are like, we're really excited you're starting this podcast, I can't wait to hear it. I'm like shitting my pants over here right now, but I'm sorry, go ahead.
You're gonna have more people listening to the podcast than are at the games.
Yeah.
Yikes.
That's a great burn though. I like it. Yeah, I wish I had that button activated because that was really, really, really funny. But yeah, I can't wait. Hey, listen, when we do the Eagles versus Redskins week, you got to call in and be like our Eagle guy because that's one thing that's one thing I want to do is when we play
Eagle guy.
when we play a team. It's like, say like week 1 we're playing. I don't know who we play. I didn't look at. I don't remember how the schedule memorized. But like say we're playing a team and I'm like, I want a fan of that team to call in and have a friendly debate of how we think that game's going to play out. Like I think that'd be really fun.
There's
trust me, you play the Steelers. You play the Steelers. Give me a call.
All right. Sorry. Next guy on the list. I'm sorry. I just freaked out there for a second.
And I mentioned earlier that there's a name on this list for like, hey, MLW, that might be a good fit here. And this is it for me. It's Mike and Maria Kanellis.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Japan again.
Going back to ROH. Yeah.
ROH would make a lot of sense.
Yeah, maybe with the Kingdom. Yeah.
Yeah, if Carl's going back, it would be great to have Maria Kanellis back.
Do that spot again.
Listen, if she's willing to shake her butt anywhere, I will follow Maria Kanellis. And I'm sure it didn't. I'm sure having the baby helped that thing a lot. So yeah, I'm a fan. Our episode where Maria Kanellis had a baby and the daddy is Brian, that was hilarious.
Yeah.
I forgot all about that.
That was right around the time I started.
Yeah. Like, who's the father of Maria Kanellis' baby? And, like, we were going to do the whole Maria Kanellis thing, and then we let Alexa pick the topic that week, and she picked her. And then we're like, and then we're just like, we did a whole thing where Brian was the dad.
Again, to reiterate, I did not sleep with Maria Kanellis.
Now, if it was the 90s,
I was up.
I was up all night long. That's awesome. Good spot. All right. Does anyone want to dive into this one? I mean, I'll do a little bit here. You went to a company. You had some issues. They paid for your issues. Then you were like, I want out. And they're like, no, you should stay. And they gave you a contract, and you took it. And then you had a baby, and then you're like, I want out again. So, I mean, if anyone went to a company, if anyone went to a company and got really, really well treated when it comes to like getting yourself well as a human and taking care of your family, man, did WWE help those people out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I say sorry on like WWE. Like, I mean, it feels like they played WWE, but then maybe WWE played them. So I mean, I don't know. That's a weird situation. That one.
I think they milked more money out of WWE than XFL did.
Yeah.
So another thing that we were talking about in the group chat this week, I think that they would be great for like 1 or 2 appearances in PPW, because PPW, you have Facade and Danny Moe, you have Adina Steele, you could put her with just about any babyface on the roster. You could do Johnny Moran and Christina Marie. There'd be a lot of opportunity for them to do something with them. Just locally, that was the first company that popped into my head.
I agree.
If they showed up at PPW, I'd be excited. I would go see Maria Kanellis.
And again, Maria is another person that would sell a lot of pictures too.
Yeah, I was going to say Maria's hot. She'll sell pictures, and they'll be doing quite fine, quite all right.
Yeah, Ring of Honor seems to be the place for.
What about Impact? If they do the whole like Maria Kanellis sex sells thing,
they could bring her back. Yeah, they were there for a little bit.
Yeah, they were there for a little bit. I don't know. Yeah, if they left on good terms, if I can see them going back.
Impact just seems to have that angle more.
Possibly AEW, but I'd say that's far down on the list of people assigned for AEW.
All right, here's the thing. If I'm AEW and you're like, hey, Maria Kanellis and Mike want in, I'm like, dude, we got Kip and Penelope. We're good. That's what I would say, honestly. I'm being honest.
I think Mike Bennett's a much better wrestler than Kip Sabian. But I think they're both actually better.
But at least one's younger and you can work with more. I don't know. That's just me. I think I think you already have a kind of same kind of fit there.
I would take Kip over Mike any day. I think Mike's is good. WWE did such a good job of making him a laughing stock. I would never take him seriously, no matter what company he went to as a main star.
Well, didn't he have a really weird match with somebody, and it was like a weird circumstance, but it was actually a good match for like a few minutes there, like where he actually showed he could work in the ring.
Tanahashi.
Yeah.
In WWE,
he's good.
Towards the end.
Tony didn't see that match. He's talking about like 205 Live.
No. It was on Monday Night Raw. Was it? I don't want to say it was Rusev, but it was somebody where he's like, I'm sick of this, and he came down to fight somebody, and like for a couple minutes, he actually showed he could work, and then
he wrestled Ricochet.
That's what it was.
I think that's what it was.
Yeah,
it was Ricochet. It was a good match. Like I was like, holy shit, this dude can go if he has to.
Yeah, he's really good. I know. I remember when they first got their working relationship with New Japan. It was one of the War of the World shows. I was like, oh man, we're gonna see all these great stars from New Japan. It was like Mike Bennett, our Tanahashi's wrestling Mike Bennett, and everyone like crapped on it. And it was at the Hammerstein Ballroom, so you have the hardcore of the most hardcore, and it was a really, really good match.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't want to discredit him and I'll go Maria, but I mean the dude can work. He can go if he has to. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, next in the list.
One last main roster guy, and of all the people we're talking about, this is the one we're like, oh, I don't know, I don't see a path for him. No Way Jose is gone.
Yeah, I think that's the WWE guy, and that's about it. And Indies.
Yeah, Indies.
Yeah, I think
the conga line thing could be fun. Like you just put all the like training school guys in the conga line.
You go to PPW and you say No Juezo's going to be there, and you get some fans to run around the ring. They would eat that up.
Tony just wants to be in the conga line.
I'm just saying, I would do it if PPW was like, hey, we got a No Jose come in. You want to dance around? I'd be like, yeah, let me get my PPW hoodie on, and I would. I mean my Tornado Tech podcast hoodie on. I'll go dance around the ring.
Oh God.
Oh boy. I would say no thank you.
I don't know. I think he would be fine on the indie circuit for a while. Once again, I've never seen him actually go as a wrestler, so I can't really credit him on his wrestling ability.
Yeah, the next place you'll see No Way Jose is probably working as a barista somewhere.
Hey, with Tony Schiavone, this is going to be his for AEW.
Yep.
What if AEW brought him in just to be like, this guy used to be really big, or he used to be a really cool thing on another company, but now he's a barista.
He's trying to take Matt Jackson's job as the new barista backstage.
Oh my God, the possibilities are endless with these talents that are like, especially if they want to take shots at WWE.
And just really quickly, before you jump on a few of the NXT people, just to run really quickly through the producers that got furloughed, because they could be back. Furloughed usually means they have the intention of bringing you back. Apparently, they said something about...
you don't get paid, right?
Yeah, you don't get paid. I think you might keep your insurance. I don't know. But it's usually that the intention when you're furloughed is to bring you back.
Yeah.
And the producers that were furloughed were Fit Finlay, Shane Helms, Billy Kidman, Mike Rotunda, Pat Buck, Sean Daivari, Scott Armstrong, Sarah Stock, and Lance Storm.
It makes sense.
Yeah, poor Lance Storm, he just closed his school like back in, I think it was like late last year, like November or something.
Yeah.
I mean, he could reopen that, but still, that kind of.
Did we?
Yeah, he was
Did we
only there
go?
for 4
Did
months.
we go through all the talent already that already got cut?
Yeah, that was everybody.
Cool.
We grouped a lot of them together. We grouped a lot of the teams together and stuff. The NXT people, some of them aren't really that well known. The biggest names, Dan Matha had been there for a long time. He was a bigger guy, and the big name was Deonna Purrazzo.
Real quick, whoever's crunching a can, that's coming through big time. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Brad.
As far as NXT, a lot of the names were people who were just like the Largo Loop people or didn't even start. They were just training. They weren't even on shows yet. The two big names were, one of them was the rapper that rapped Adam Cole to the ring one time and they signed him. But the two big names as far as, well, they're saying also NXT, they're not releasing the names of the people that were cut from NXT. So there could be people we don't know of.
Supposedly Hero. I keep hearing rumors Hero is one.
Oh, no.
Wow. I can see Hero everywhere.
But there's a guy who went to
really
NXT. Did he put on a lot of weight, and they really just they didn't really use him very often. So
No.
he'd be a guy maybe if he got let go, it wouldn't be a so much terrible thing for him.
No, because he's a great wrestler.
Yeah.
Chris Hero is an asset to anywhere he goes.
Exactly, 100%.
He's got a great mind. He's an amazing wrestler. Anywhere he goes, he's going to make that company a million times better.
Yeah, I kind of look at Chris Hero as if he were to go to the main roster, the fans would look at him and be like, "We have Kevin Owens, dude. What do we need you for?"
Chris Hero, he's been more of a player coach for NXT too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he's been helping guys get And while we're bringing up Chris Hero, I want to get the URL for this. I know one thing he's been doing really big lately is there's an older school guy, Tracy Smothers. He was in the Young Pistols.
Yep.
FBI.
The FBI and ECW. Yeah. Chris Hero actually has a fundraiser coming up right now. Tracy Smothers has. It looks like it's already broken its goal. But Tracy Smothers has stage 3 lymphoma, and he's lost 45% of his heart use. He has cancer in the lymph nodes on both sides of his diaphragm. And Chris Hero sees Tracy Smothers as a mentor, somebody he has a lot of respect for. And if you go to GoFundMe.com and you search Tracy Smothers Cancer Benefit, he's actually started a GoFundMe for Tracy Smothers, and he's raised over $12,000.
I just read reports. I know this is kind of completely off topic, but I just seen a report online of people reacting to everyone getting fired, and they all said, "Why wasn't it Baron Corbin?"
Hey, they love him. They love him.
Well,
I'm never going to be one. Oh, go ahead, Matt. Sorry.
No, going back to the Tracy Smothers thing, I know firsthand that Tracy Smothers was a big mentor for not only Chris Hero but Claudio Cesaro, because they spent a lot of time together in Ian Rotten's IWA Mid-South.
The only thing I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, and Tracy, because I did maybe about a dozen or so IWA Mid-South shows, and Smothers and Chris Candido were two of the guys that would always pull the young guys aside and here's what you did right, here's what you did wrong, here's what you can do better. I mean, those are guys who did not have to take time. Those guys are legends that didn't have to take time, and they would pull. It didn't matter if you were day 1 with the company or day 3,000. So I mean, Tracy Smothers. I mean, I know that I posted something for him as well, just to kind of help out. But Tracy Smothers was a huge asset to Hero and IWA Mid-South. So I'm pretty sure Chris Hero is just doing everything he can to try to pay it back.
Yeah, I don't know anything bad about him either, about Tracy Smothers either.
And a lot of people have stepped up within wrestling. I'm just looking at some of the things from the GoFundMe. Jimmy Jacobs chipped in $200. Sami Zayn $250. Mark Madden, the old WCW announcer, $300. Mick Foley chipped in $1,000. Scott D'Amore $2,000. Chris Jericho $2,500. So they really did step up for him.
That's cool.
You want to talk about a guy who I wish got let go, and not because I want him to lose his job, but I want him to go to another company and be everything he can be. God, Sami Zayn.
Cesaro.
And Cesaro.
Well, now he's the Intercontinental Champion. So
why would you want that now when Sami Zayn is finally the character he always should have been? He's this squirmy heel who's the champion.
No, I want to see him go to a company. I want to see him go to a company and actually be able to work and not be a guy who runs away the whole time.
I think when his contract comes up,
you could have had that. All you had to do is watch Ring of Honor for the last 15 years, and you would have seen that.
I think he's got a friend of high place. I think Bruce Pritchard likes him.
When he would, I would literally say all the time, I don't know, I'm getting kind of sick of it, but every single time him and Kevin Owens are somehow in a match together, it never ceases to amaze me. Like, they did have ladder matches
great.
together, and I was like, they took bumps that I didn't even think were possible. Like, Sami Zayn is so good. Like, he's so good at what he does. Like, oh my God, I just want to see more from him.
The one thing I will fault Tracy Smothers on, though, just to get back to him real quick, he did a match a long time ago, and his opponent, unfortunately, is no longer with us. He wrestled Odorous Orungus, the lead singer of Gwar,
Really?
in a Loser Leaves Planet Earth match. Tracy Smothers lost the match and did not live up to the stipulation, and that's disappointing. He did not leave Planet Earth.
Oh my
You
God,
see,
Tyler, that
Odorous
photo was
probably could've
amazing.
left, Planet Earth.
Did you see the photo? Great.
Yeah.
I did not know that match ever happened.
Yeah, I don't know where it was. He wrestled Dave Brocky.
Wow, how about that?
But
I'm sure it
speaking
was
of
a classic.
Cesaro, quick, because Tony brought him up, I just seen today Cesaro was talking on the New Day's podcast, and you
My
guys
friend said it was a
remember?
good one.
Do you guys remember when Vince McMahon was on the Steve Austin podcast and he mentioned Cesaro about how Cesaro needs to improve if everyone wants to grab their brass ring or whatever bullshit that he said?
Oh
That was
my
the whole
God.
breast thing. That's where it started.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Cesaro was saying the first people that texted him to make sure he was okay because everybody knew Cesaro was crushed by that. Like, that hurt him really bad personally. He was like, damn, even the boss doesn't believe in me. But he said that the New Day were the first people to text him, be like, hey, man, keep your head up. Like, it's all right. Prove them wrong. Like, go out there, bust their ass, you know? But it was a really good podcast.
That's what I heard.
The New Day is a
That'll be
team that literally everyone was like, this is the worst idea in wrestling history. And now look at them. You know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
like
Dude, I'm 100% guilty of that. When I seen them coming out with their freaking, I was like, this is gonna fail so hard.
and then they beat they were the longest
It
reigning
took a
champ.
little bit, but
Yeah.
yeah. Then they obviously.
Yeah.
I knew the moment I knew they were going to be okay is when they started doing the New Day sucks chants, and then they started coming out with New Day socks. I'm like, they're going to be fine. They're turning into this, and they're going to be just fine.
So the last bit, is there anything else you want to cover when it comes to the future endeavors section?
Yeah, just NXT. The two main people were Dan Matha, who I think was in the Greatest Royal Rumble. He was a bigger guy that's been around for a while, and somebody I think would fit in well with either AEW or Ring of Honor, Deonna Purrazzo.
Okay.
Ring of Honor
Yeah,
might be awkward because her ex is the booker, but
Yeah. And she posted and said that like she was happy about getting released because
yeah. So I think she's going to land on her feet.
yeah, she'll be out.
I didn't read the full article. I kind of just breezed through it when I was going through news before we started. But I believe Titus O'Neil donated a lot of money to the some Florida campaign when it comes to the coronavirus.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Hmm.
I had to look more into it, but that's something that I just kind of breezed over real fast. But yeah, so speaking of Florida, they've made WWE essential. There has been a little bit of an interesting timeline. Does anyone on the show want to cover that timeline and see maybe if there's anything shady going on here?
Shady. It's politics. It's you scratch your back, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. Because they were declared Florida did the thing where it's like non-essential, and then the next day there was a super PAC, a political committee that's trying to get Donald Trump reelected president. That Linda McMahon runs the committee. She left the Small Business Administration to run this committee to get Donald Trump reelected, and that committee made a commitment to spend $18.5 million in, I believe it was Orlando and I want to say Tampa. The next day, WWE is all of a sudden an essential service because they bring a lot of money into Florida.
Get it, girl.
Yeah. Jeez.
Get it, girl.
Hey, money will make anyone change anyone's mind about anything.
Listen, I get the whole Corona thing is scary and it's horrible. But a part of me is like, listen, if WB tells their employees like, hey, if you're concerned about it, you can go home. But I'm going to be honest, I know these empty arena shows are annoying people, and I know some of the people like it's not for everybody. But I do still kind of look forward to watching the shows. Like, I don't know, not having anything, I do respect the fact that they're at least trying to put some type of entertainment on for us. AEW has when I was seeing people freaking out, I'm like, dude, AEW's on every week. What are you like? Why are you not shitting on them for? And then I realized, like, when I asked that in the chat, I was legitimately asking because you have to realize I am pulling myself in 15 different directions, so I do miss some stuff when it comes to news. So that's why it's really helpful to have all you guys on the show. But so I was legitimately asking, like, well, why isn't people? And then realizing that AEW has, like, their editing has been so good, I didn't know that they have been all pre-recorded.
Well, you kind of know. I think you might have noticed it this week because unless she's a miraculous healer, Britt Baker was okay after getting her nose busted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's almost like maybe that match happened before they won.
Yeah.
You might be right there, Andy.
And what the Moxley match was in the football stadium.
Yeah, apparently they recorded that like 3 or 4, like even longer ago than these episodes, maybe a month ago.
Yeah.
Well, I think it ended 2 weeks after that, so that was a good move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll kind of dive into to SmackDown. We won't go too crazy. I mean, real quick, we'll just do this. Did anything in SmackDown was it life changing that we need to talk about?
Not really.
The only thing I would say, I thought it was pretty cool that Bray Wyatt interrupted Braun and let him know, like, hey, I made you, and then you turned your back on me, and you have something.
Oh, you're getting a little robotic, Tyler. Are you there? I think we lost Tyler. Oh, hold on. I'm just talking a little bit. Could anyone hear me? Real fast. I think it might be my connection. Sorry, guys. We had some. This is one of the things that you struggle with when it comes to doing a live show. With everyone being home, internet connections are a little crazy. So we did lose connection when it came to our group chat. I'm going to try to restart it so we can kind of get everybody back.
Well, I have it on the computer, so
real quick.
Okay.
All right, I'm back.
Okay, all
right.
Sorry, guys. I got
When did you
disconnected.
drop off?
Tyler was talking about the Braun Strowman and thing, so that's where I lost connection with you guys. But we are back.
No, I was just saying, I just think it's cool that Bray interrupted Braun and he mentioned, hey, listen, like, I made you. I brought you into my family, and then you turned your back on your family, and you have something that I want, which is the Universal title. And Braun's not scared of him because, why would he be? He's the monster among men. So
yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, remember that time Braun Strowman was Universal Champion for a little short minute of time? Remember that?
Bray?
That was that. I mean, no, I'm saying Braun because does he not drop?
Yeah.
He's dropping the belt to the Fiend. Like
You would think, yeah.
yeah,
Maybe
so,
they could have a match where they don't try to hit each other. But I think it was after the whole thing with that Tyler was talking about. We mentioned the Forgotten Sons are now on SmackDown.
yeah, they got called up.
Bianca.
Bianca
So
Belair got
Bianca's
called
on
up.
Raw.
Yeah, she
Yeah,
got called up to
that's
Raw.
And this is just a little bit of an Easter egg. There was a squash match on SmackDown. Sheamus defeated Cal Bloom. Cal Bloom is the son of Wayne Bloom,
Get out of here.
who was Bo Beverly in the Beverly
Wow.
Brothers.
Yeah,
The blonde one.
And what was his name in AWA?
It was just Wayne the Destruction Crew. It was
Yeah,
Wayne the
Destruction
Train
Crew, yeah.
Bloom. So yeah,
not trying to be the sound Nazi real quick, but someone's TV is kind of bleeding through a little heavy in the background. On Raw, anything groundbreaking on Raw that we want to cover? Because
Raw was really the Zelina Vega show. Like she was all over the place. She did a great
she's creating a little bit of a stable.
Yeah.
they literally started their own LIJ on Raw. They all do the
I
fist
seen they
bump
did
and
the
everything.
pose.
Yeah, they do the pose.
Mm-hmm.
Well, hey,
Yeah,
no
so
one
that's
else is doing right
awesome.
now,
I
so-
love that. I really hope they really start doing like an LIJ kind of thing with them because that would be great.
Yeah,
No, there's four places that have it: Raw, Ring of Honor, New Japan, and AAA.
yeah.
Yep. They're taking over just like Bullet Club did for a long time.
That's a dope stable. I'm a fan of that stable.
Raw was really, by and large, built up to start the build to Money in the Bank, which is I think in like 3 weeks.
Yeah,
They did qualifying matches for the women's Money in the Bank. Asuka beat Ruby Riott. There were rumors, by the way, that Ruby Riott, I think it was like Ruby Riott, Peyton Royce, and somebody else had gotten
Kyrie.
cut. Kyrie, yeah, but apparently that is not the case. And Meltzer said he doesn't expect any more main roster cuts to come with this.
I would love Ruby. She'd be somebody that if she went to an AEW, she'd be a superstar.
Yeah, I think she's a great. At the very least, she's a great hand.
Yeah.
She did well in Chikara, so yeah, there's a lot of.
But talking about Raw real quick, they announced that next week they were going to do the men's qualifying matches.
Yep.
And I have a big gripe about it because I don't understand the matches at all. Like the first match is Rey Mysterio versus Buddy Murphy. That's fine. Either one of those guys deserves it.
The next match, Buddy Murphy should go over though.
I would book Buddy to go over as well. The next match then is Aleister Black versus Austin Theory, which clearly Black's winning. That's like just a quick match to get him over. You know, that's totally fine. But then the next match is Apollo Crews versus MVP. How the hell do either one of those guys deserve to be in that match?
Remember when MVP retired?
Apollo Crews had a really good match now with Black on Raw last.
Yeah, I think this could be a way. This could be a way to get Apollo Crews kind of over and give him some ring time. Like we always.
So you get to have one good match on Raw and you still lose, and then all of a sudden you get.
But listen,
in the Money in the Bank spot.
But here's the thing, Tyler. We always talk about in the show how we have these guys in the back that are really really talented, and it sucks that they never get shine. And here's a chance to possibly get Apollo Crews a pay-per-view match in a ladder match where he can really go out and do some stuff. So we can't really sit there and say, like, well, it's stupid, I hate it, because it's going to give this guy some time to prove himself.
There's guys like Angel Garza who be in that spot who's actually been winning matches.
Angel Garza is part of an amazing stable right now that's getting an insane amount of TV time.
I wouldn't say amazing.
So is Austin Theory. Austin Theory's in the same stable, and he still has a match to have a chance to be in the Money in the Bank.
I get what you're saying.
The thing that matters is wins and losses have to matter. You can't lose for a year straight like Apollo Crews has been, and then he loses a good match to Aleister Black, and then they say, well, that's good enough. Here's a qualifying match.
So again, you guys exactly. Like, for example, if you're the champion for a year and a half of the company, you don't get a main event at WrestleMania. How does that not make sense?
Yeah.
Half the roster can teleport. I'm not worried about who's getting title shots.
I love Brian. Can the wrestler teleport?
So I mean, if you think about it, the winners are kind of laid out. So you're telling me Money in the Bank's going to have Apollo Crews, Aleister Black, and probably Buddy Murphy on it. Like, yeah, count me in.
Unless they throw Ray a bone,
Yeah.
And
I wouldn't put Ray in the match.
Don't be shocked, dude, if MVP beats him, man. Just as a swerve to get MVP in a match because he's a name. I would not be surprised. And again,
I would be very surprised. I think Paul Heyman has a pet project now in Apollo Crews.
I agree. Yeah, well, and same thing.
I mean, they said the same thing about Cedric Alexander, that he had a pet project with him that went nowhere. This is the same thing about that went nowhere.
They're teaming them up. They teamed them up. They started a program.
I know they're a team now, but I'm saying the single stars. Cedric Alexander was in United States title feud with AJ, got smashed. Ricochet got buried by Brock.
Well, real quick, Tyler, because just the way the WWE kind of does stuff is where you go on huge losing streaks, and then all of a sudden you rise up like a phoenix. Didn't Daniel Bryan lose almost every single match for almost a year, and then he came back and became champion?
No.
Daniel Bryan went on a huge losing streak where he lost to everybody.
He lost a lot right before he won the Money in the Bank.
Yeah,
and they do that a lot. That if somebody's like turning or getting something like that,
once he got over with Kane and Team Hell No, he was winning.
No, I'm talking about after his injury when he came back and he was hot, and then they put him on a huge losing streak, and then he skyrocketed and became,
that was bad though.
Yeah, that was really bad.
Yeah.
But I'm saying is
like I was saying when you said that huge losing streak thing is why a lot of people in WWE do not get over.
Yeah.
You want to have a guy get over, have him win a lot.
Well,
have him win clean a lot, and he'll get over.
You can't do 50-50 booking. That's the point. 50-50 booking does not work. That is ridiculous. It doesn't work.
It doesn't help anyone out.
It doesn't work, but they do it. But that's where we're at.
Yeah.
But as far as the women's Money in the Bank, Asuka got in by beating Ruby Riott. Shayna Baszler got in by beating Sarah Logan, which wound up being Sarah Logan's last match in the company.
Even though they announced that Sarah Logan won that match at first by mistake.
Yeah, the ring announcer blew it because she did a thing where she stomped on her arm and like Sarah Logan was injured.
Yeah.
And then the Nia Jax beat Kairi Sane to get the other Money in the Bank.
Nia Jax returning. Good for her.
Yeah, she returned last week.
Yeah, double ACL surgery.
Wow, she was out for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, a year.
And then you also had another guy's last match. No Way Jose got squashed by Lashley. And the Viking Raiders beat Ricochet and Cedric Alexander. And your main event was Drew beating Andrade. They did a nice callback. They were talking about how Andrade ended Drew's NXT title reign, how he injured him. He cost him 6 months of his career. And that was how they built to the match in the main event where Drew beat Andrade.
Oh, that makes I like that.
And afterwards, Seth came out and beat the crap out of Drew.
Yeah, so that's your title program right now. Looks like Seth and Drew, which is weird because Seth lost to WrestleMania.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's too soon. Yeah, it should have been safe for SummerSlam, and they should not rush it now.
Got to put against him though.
That's the thing. Yeah, who else is it going to be if it's not him? Who?
Yeah.
Who's your number 2 heel on Raw now?
I would just have him and Andrade. I'd keep doing a champion versus champion. I mean, why not? Don't put both belts on the line, but give Andrade
You could.
the world
You could
title.
do that, yeah. You could do that, especially because Money in the Bank's going to be the real draw on the show. You could do
Right.
that.
All right. So
But
is that pretty
was
much
Raw.
everything?
We can go to Wednesday. That's Raw if you want to go to Wednesday now, yeah.
Let's shoot over. Would you want to? All right. So since we did all WWE programming first, let's switch gears and go AEW.
AEW, yeah. So you started off AEW with the Jake Roberts promo at the very beginning of AEW was the highlight for me now.
Yeah,
It's
Jake,
every week and they're all good.
anything
I-
anything Jake
he's a
Roberts
great-
does, I'm
great
a fan
promo.
of.
Yeah.
And then once again, Chris Jericho and Tony Schiavone, excellent on commentary.
Yep.
I agree.
And then
He said
tournament match for
real
the
quick. He said
Okay.
something during his commentary that got beeped out. Did he say the wrestler's real name?
Oh yeah, that was Sugar Dunkerton.
Yeah.
They called him Shug D.
Apparently, I guess is Chikara on that or something? Or
Yeah, Chikara gets pretty protective over the names they have. Like that's why Jervis Cottonbelly is sometimes Gentleman Jervis when he's
Yeah.
not in Chikara.
I just heard
So-
Jericho talking and I
yeah.
heard beep and I was like, what happened?
You know-
what just
you
happened?
know what I think's gonna happen? The Pineapple Pete thing is over, and I think he should just be Pineapple Pete.
Yeah, pretty much.
Once again, Jericho strikes.
Yeah, but that's what they called him, Shug D. But they bleeped out with Sugar Dunkerton.
Yeah. If I went to a show and heckled Jericho and said, you should watch Tornado Tag Podcast, he goes, what, this stupid podcast? And gave me a stupid name for our podcast? We're changing it that next day. Like, Jericho named our podcast.
Welcome to Ass Clown Central.
Yeah. Welcome, we're stupid idiots.
The Stupid Idiot Podcast.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Jeff.
The TNT title tournament, Lance Archer beat Colt Cabana. They're doing great, making
Good-
Lance
good
Archer
match,
look
by
like
the way.
a monster.
Good match. I liked it.
Cabana's pretty good. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. I always like Colt Cabana.
Yeah.
How can you not?
Yeah, you can do everything. They had Britt Baker cutting a promo from her dental office.
Hey, she's one of the most improved, I would think. She's
Yeah.
finally found her character.
I was
Britt's
not
just
a fan of
doing
her,
it.
and I was like, Jesus, when she's on TV, I just want to turn off. I've turned the corner for Britt Baker.
And her and her Hikaru Shida had a great match, so they should put them together again.
Yes.
Yeah, it just seems like with her a light has turned on, and ever since the show on the cruise,
Yeah,
where
but Tony
she seemed
Schiavone.
she seemed a little shaky that time, but ever since then she seemed so comfortable in her role in this episode. It was really, really impressive.
Yeah.
I like that thing she does now, where she puts him on the ropes and then she sits down and she starts like talking mean girl smack.
Yeah, and she's talking to Tony Schiavone.
Yeah.
And then
like
Jericho's
that.
like, you have a thing for her, don't you? I just think it's gold.
Yeah.
It's gold.
And if you ever listen to Shivani's podcast with Conrad, that's a thing because he's very much like he kind of plays up the dirty old man thing, and how he's always friendly with a lot of the women. He's very friendly with Medusa and Francine, so it
Sitting in
plays
the
right
makeup
into
chair. Yeah.
Yeah.
that. And throughout the show, because the main event of the show was Moxley and Jake Hager, throughout the show they had people giving their predictions, trying to give it that big fight feel. You had Mike Goldberg, you had Big John
How
McCarthy,
about that?
Ron Funches. You had a lot of people.
Ariel Helwani.
Ariel Helwani, yes. That I like that. It was a nice little touch.
Yeah,
Yeah,
pretty
it was
cool.
it was a great touch, but we'll get into why it backfired for me. But go ahead.
And then you had the Bubbly Bunch.
Hilarious segment.
hilarious. Jericho at the end when he's like gone on the phone with Adrian. I need more toilet paper. That shit was hysterical.
Well, then he spilled the orange juice. I don't know if that was like a dig at Orange Cassidy. But...
Yeah, he spilled orange juice everywhere, and then the next shot there was no orange juice on the counter.
I like the thing with with Jake Hager and his kids too. Jake Hager showed a little bit
Yeah,
of personality.
earmuffs. Yeah. I love the
And
Bubbly
then,
Bunch. The Bubbly Bunch will be a T-shirt. Wait for that one.
Oh, of course it would.
It
be.
probably already is.
First off,
That's
how
already
funny is
being
that
printed.
AEW everything becomes a T-shirt.
Yeah.
How funny is it that Jake Hager, his wife, was actually a porn star?
Really?
Yes. Not
Did not
about
know that.
woman. Yep.
For
No.
research purposes, where can we find?
Yeah, what was her acting name?
Just type in Jake Hager's wife and she will pop up.
Oh, okay.
Alrighty. You heard it here
And
first.
And then you had the match with Sammy Guevara and Sugar D, Sugar Dunkerton, Pineapple Pete, whatever you want to call him.
Great
And
match.
that was kind of very good match. And
I
then
thought
it
it
was
was pretty good.
I'm
it was-
becoming a huge Sammy Guevara fan.
Yeah, he's got something. He's got that.
You guys
spark.
gave
He's
me
got
a,
that-
you guys gave me an awkward silence, like I was an idiot for saying.
I think with
Oh no, he's great.
No, we're just waiting for. I think we're just trying to not step on each other.
Yeah, no,
We're
100%.
gonna get a few more silences than normal.
Yeah.
And then that was really just that was set up to build up to the match next week where Darby Allin and Sammy are going to wrestle in the tournament.
Man, I don't want
Oh,
I don't want Sammy to lose. I'm going to be honest, but I think he's going to.
Yeah, I think you have to have some kind of babyface heel dynamic and
Yeah.
because they're on the same side of the bracket as Archer, right?
Yeah.
No, I think Sammy Darby Allin are on the same side of the bracket as Cody.
That's Cody.
I
yeah,
think
you're right
it'd
with
go,
Kobe.
I think it'd go either way then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It could go either way then. Because you have that backstory if it's Darby Allin where they had that draw way back when before Dynamite even started, or if you do it with Sammy,
First
that
match,
was the first match
first
ever
match
on
of
Dynamite.
AEW. Yeah.
Exactly.
And Darby did just punch Cody like not even 2 weeks ago, so there's
Yeah.
that too.
Yeah, you have the Blood and Guts with the Elite versus Inner Circle as well. So you have a bunch of stories that intertwine there.
Yeah.
And that's really well done because they either way they go, they have a story to tell.
Yeah.
That's really well done.
They're doing very good when it comes to continuity and stuff like that.
And then your next match was Kip Sabian with Penelope Ford beating Chuck Taylor.
I loved this match. This might have been my favorite match in the show. I thought it was.
I liked it, but I wasn't real into it. I don't know.
I was into the
But
goofiness.
The ending was very good.
I thought the goofiness was funny. I thought her Penelope getting on the ropes and taking her jacket off and acting sexy, and then just watching Orange Cassidy trying not to laugh
that
as
was
he did
pretty
it.
good,
Like
yeah.
I was just like, I'm in, dude.
Yeah, it was funny, but I wouldn't say it was my favorite match of the week, but it was funny.
I don't know. The more I see of best friends, even as a tag team or when they're solo, I like when they're in the ring.
No, they're great, dude. Best
Oh,
friends
yeah, I like
and
Best Friends.
Cassie are amazing.
Yeah.
And it looks like they're building something with Jimmy Havoc and Cassidy too.
Yeah, listen, man. I think it's one of those things. When I start getting regular money flow again, I will own a Best Friends T-shirt. I'm a big fan. And they're a tag team
Well,
when I first. They're a tag team when
You
I first
should love the
started.
Kentucky Gentlemen.
Yeah, they were a team when I first started. I was like, I don't get it. Like, you can go back and watch. I was like, listen, there's no one really jumping out at me at AEW, but there's a lot of people who have started doing that. Like, I became more excited to watch AEW because there's a lot of cool stars on that show.
Yeah, that's how it is. But I think when you first start being introduced to people, like, I don't know about him. But the more you watch, like, I like this.
I just don't get people who legit just shit on one show or just like how I used to be. Like, I only watch one program, and then like everything else, you just try to mentally block it out like you're not going to like it. Like, I just think it stunts you from watching some really good stuff.
Yeah, it's all wrestling. Just enjoy wrestling. What the hell? It's so easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you don't gain. There's no benefit from saying I only watch this. It's not like they're gonna come and give you free T-shirts for saying that.
I argue with people in the comments all the time. I'm like, dude, are you getting paid by WWE? Are you an employee? Like, if not, then shut up. Why are you bashing AEW? Just enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean, there's no law that says you can't watch them all.
Yeah, man.
Well,
it's
it's not live anymore. There is a law about that.
Yeah.
The next match was Sean Spears beating Justin Law in a squash. A little awkward, but hey, they're getting Spears some wins. They're trying to make something there.
Yeah, and I was thinking, like, hey, that's great for that guy. I'm sure he's just some indie guy, and they said, hey, you want to be on Dynamite? He's like, hell yeah. So
I'm guessing a lot of these guys are, since a lot of this was taped at QT Marshall's gym, I think a lot of them are students.
Yeah, which is cool. Get some. I mean, what experience? That's great. Good for them.
Like, I know, what was the one they signed? Anna J. Yeah.
Jay.
Like,
how
if
dare
she-
you forget her name, bro?
Yeah.
and she got signed, and she deserved to. She's great.
She was very good, and I mean, aside from obviously she's good looking, but she like for that match, I was like, oh, it's pretty good.
Yeah. And then your main event was the world title match, Jon Moxley retaining against Jake Hager. Too long, I thought.
Yeah, I don't know. It just came on, I immediately zoned out.
Yeah,
I missed and stuff.
Yeah.
Especially knowing what was going. I DVR it and watch one live, watch one later. Knowing what was going on NXT after this, I would have flipped if it was like that. You had to make a choice.
Yeah, I was with Tony. Tony was like, "Man, this is a snooze fest," and I was like, "Yeah, it really is."
Well, here's the thing: they had everyone and their brother hype this matchup, like during the entire show, saying, and they're trying to make it like it's going to be a legit fight, and Jon Moxley is this street fighter that he has this advantage, and it was like, it to me, it just did not hit any marks for me. I was like, man, this. Like, I know, and I'm not trying to, I never stepped in between or had to put a show on like that, but, like, man, it just came off so boring to me. Like, it did nothing for me.
Yeah, at the same time too, I never had a feeling ever that I thought Moxley was actually going to lose. Not for 1 second was I like, oh, Hager's going to win this thing.
Yeah,
and that's fine usually, but for a half-hour match that you're putting that kind of a pay-per-view type build to, it's a little tough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was more of a wild brawl. Like, I didn't mind the, like, jiu-jitsu actual wrestling, because I really like that catch can, but, like, the fact that Moxley he not only hung with a legit, All-American at Oklahoma and a legit MMA fighter, not only
All-American American.
Yeah, not only did he hang with them, but, like he I kind of beat him. I was like, that. Like, I understand he's training at Randy Couture's gym. He's been training for like 2 years, but like Hager's been doing this like his whole life. So it's just like, to me, that was
I totally agree with you, Andrew. That part drove me crazy.
That was
Hager
laughable.
should have been going right through him.
That was laughable, and it immediately took me out of the match.
Yeah. So that pretty much wraps it up for AEW. I mean, I enjoyed the show, but that ending left a real bad taste in my mouth when it came. Like when you wrap it up as a program for the week, like that was like, meh. Like you're just like, man, that tasted bad. It's like eating a bag of delicious grapes, and you get to that very last grape, and it tastes terrible.
A bad ending can ruin a movie or a match, anything.
Or a good one. You could have like an okay match and have this really badass ending, and it's just like, but that is what it is.
With movies too, I'm not Matt and Andy can really speak to wrestling, but as far as like movies go and things like that, if you have a really great beginning and a really great ending, you can get away with a lot in the middle.
You can,
Sure.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. Let's move on to NXT because I got to get wheeling here.
Yep.
NXT. Tom Phillips and Byron Saxton are your commentators. Oh, that was nice. Finn Balor defeats Fabian Eichner.
Great match.
Fantastic opener.
Great match.
Loved it.
They beat the shit out of each other. When you wrestle Finn Balor, man, it just looks like he hurts you. like I don't know, man. It could just be his ability to make it look so amazing, but he just looks like he kicks the shit out of you if you step in the ropes between him. He reminds me.
He also takes a lot too.
Yeah, he takes as much as he gives out. He reminds me a lot of Andy. Can probably attest. I don't know if he wrestles anywhere else, but all I really know him from is Outbreak. But with Mac Mayhem, where when he's in the ring, he looks like he kills you. He looks like he works so stiff. It looks like he's just like a bruiser. Like he hurts, he beats the shit out of you. But when you actually look closer to it, you could tell he doesn't look like he looks like he's super super safe. But just his style, where he looks like he kicks the garbage out of you.
Oh, I want to wrestle this guy.
Yeah. You two would have a great striking match, to be honest. Like it would be really fun to watch. Outbreak, if you're listening.
3 times.
Yeah. And it was a great match when you wrestled him. I was like, wow, he looks like he's fucking laying into you. He has a really good chop.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. So
yeah. So that Finn Balor, man, you wrestle him, and you're just like the whole time like, ooh, would you fucking calm down, Jesus?
Finn Balor right now is by far my favorite person in NXT. I love Balor. I love him on the main roster. I just don't know how they plan on stretching this feud out with Walter to, like, God knows when they're going for the country and let Walter back in and stuff like that. Just seems so far away.
Yeah.
Yeah, they might have to take like a detour there and put him with somebody else and do something in the meantime.
Agreed. Who would be a match that you would like to see Finn go against with, like, say if they were like, hey, let's take a quick break. Who would be a good replacement for Finn?
I would like to see him transition into the Velveteen Dream Adam Cole feud and make it a triple threat for the title.
See, I would like him to go against. I would like him to go against someone who maybe doesn't have that star recognition, like kind of like Daniel Bryan did with what's his name, and kind of just put like he wins obviously, but puts a guy over. That's what I would like.
Thatcher.
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
Well, my ultimate dream, if I had a choice, but he's stuck in England too, is I would love to see Finn Balor and Tyler Bate, especially because they did sneak a little thing like in the UK where they were at each other's throats and then Balor attacked Trent Seven. Like that would be an amazing match.
Ooh, piggybacking off that, Ilya Dragunov.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, they had a great match.
Yeah.
Awesome. Next match.
Well, there was a promo after that where Charlotte Flair just basically set the table. The "I'm the captain now" speech, just calling out everybody.
It made it more realistic why she picked her opponent, because people could be like, that makes no sense. And I thought that promo was done very well.
They did a great job here making everything make sense and setting the table for not just one match but several. You have that ready-made rematch with Rhea. You have Mia Yim as the next opponent, and you have Io waiting in the wings.
It makes you excited for that women's division once again. That was already at a point where you're like, man, anyone can win this title. You know what I mean? Like the women's division once again in NXT is must-watch TV.
I agree.
And then the next match was Xia Li beating Aaliyah.
Was what it was.
Yeah, it was a match.
Xia Li is fantastic, and Aaliyah
I don't like her.
You don't like her?
No, I do like Xia Li.
Yeah.
Aaliyah, I thought would be one of the ones getting released. Yeah.
Yeah, Aaliyah.
She may have. There could be
true.
NXT releases we
Yeah.
don't know about.
I
They're
think
not
Aaliyah-
officially announcing those.
Aaliyah could be like a Carmella, where I think she could be a slow starter, but there is something there. I don't think she's atrocious. You know what I mean? Like she showed her toughness, getting her nose splattered all over her face, and like coming back and not looking gun shy. But like I think there's potential there. She obviously has a great look. She's not bad to look at. And on the same token, I think if she's willing to keep putting the work in, I think she can be.
I think she's also very, very young. I think she started when she was like 18 or 19.
Yeah, I wouldn't count Aaliyah out as a talent in the future.
No, you can't count anybody out. Anybody
Yeah.
can improve. Doesn't matter if you're wrestling 1 year or 20.
Yep.
It's true.
And then your next match, bit of an upset here. It was the first match in the Cruiserweight tournament. Akira Tozawa beats Isaiah Swerve Scott.
This is great.
Yeah,
Loved it.
great match. Great match.
And you're able to do with this what you do with the G1, where guys beat guys that they might not normally beat because it's a round robin.
Well, yeah, I
Yeah.
remember a couple years ago when Okada was champion. It was 2016. They brought in Marufuji from Noah, and Marufuji beat him in the first night. And it was like, wait, what? You know, the outsider came in and beat our guy. So, yeah, you don't know who's going to win these things.
Or
And
anybody
plus-
that wrestles
hey,
Tanahashi
listen.
the first night.
Akira Tozawa is a former cruiserweight champion. I mean, it's not like he's a bum. He's a really good cruiserweight.
Yeah.
He is. He's amazing.
You guys ever see the match he wrestled with Hero from Battle Los Angeles? I think it was 09 maybe? I could have my dates wrong. But you want
Yes,
to see a
yes,
ball
I did
buster
see
of
that
a
match.
match.
Yeah.
That's a great match.
Mm-hmm.
And talk about somebody that Finn could do something with. Any of these Cruiserweight guys. Kushida.
This Cruiserweight Classic is
Kushida,
I mean,
Tozawa.
I know it's a rip off of New Japan, but man, this Classic, especially now going into it, knowing that some guys on this Classic are fired and what they're going to put out as talent, as performances, this Classic just got more interesting as a wrestling fan.
True.
Yeah. And then your next match, it was Tegan Nox beating Raquel Gonzalez with a roll-up and building to a tag match with Dakota and Raquel against Tegan and Shotzi.
Tegan Nox looking like she's a member of Blue and Gold with that gear.
I texted her this because I watch the shows on Thursday morning.
Yeah.
Because me and my wife have a wife. We watch some of her shows because I make her.
You're a
watch
little
enough
quiet.
Wrestling. So anyway, I texted her this morning and I was like, oh man, she went full Blue and Gold Captain Marvel.
Yeah, she's had all the different variations of Captain Marvel gear. She comes out with the Carol Danvers jacket.
At when Andy came out with
I
his
like Tegan Nox.
when Andy came out with his Blue and Gold gear at the last PPW show, he got chanted. He was getting Andy Marvel chants because every time he comes out, he had like a different style Marvel gear, so he was getting called Andy Marvel.
Yeah.
The idea.
The fans were eating it up, and I walked over like, "Hey, you like Andy Header? Here's a podcast pin. Check this out." But yeah, I can't wait to see that new golden ring. But when I seen it, I was like, "Oh, look at that, Miss Marvel gear." But once again, decent match. It was what it was. The big girl. I mean, she looks like a cross between if Sonya Deville and a Nia, not so much like Nia Jax, but like a bigger presence, like a Nia Jax
Like
had.
China.
Yeah.
O'Neal or somebody like that.
Yeah.
I think she's still fairly new, so it's
Yeah,
kinda
she's gonna go by. She's gonna get by on her just her
wrestling
big stature.
But she's also second generation. I think she's Rudy Boy's niece.
Okay.
Oh wow.
I think her father was Ricky Gonzalez.
Okay.
And just Rudy Boy, just to set that up, Tony. He was kind of the real trainer behind the Shawn Michaels Academy that produced like Daniel Bryan and Brian Kendrick. And
You mean
Paul
it wasn't
London
that
and
old
those
guy who they used in the promos?
Jose Lothario?
Yeah.
The Super Sock, which I thought
No,
was
he
the
trained
dumbest
Shawn.
thing ever.
Yeah.
He trained Shawn.
Yeah. And then it ended with anytime you put Shotzi on screen, I'm a happy man. So it was
I like Shotzi.
yeah,
Shotzi's awesome.
I'm a big Shotzi fan. All right, next match.
Well, you had a few vignettes here and there. You had one with Keith Lee just kind of going through like how he got into wrestling. You had one with Adam Cole poolside at his house. You had the Velveteen Dream
God, do I miss
doing his kind of rebuttal.
Here's the thing. You're watching NXT right now with no Adam Cole, no Velveteen Dream, and they're still carrying the show. Like, if you want to see NXT flipping guys around and using talent, they're doing a great job at it.
And then your next match was Dexter Lumis winning a quick match over Tahuti Miles with a
What a
submission.
name on Tahuti Miles.
Tahuti.
Yeah.
Real quick,
Dude,
real quick when it
Dexter
comes to this
Lumis. I think
Cruiser
he's
Classic.
great.
Who's this dude with the mask?
Oh, El Hijo del Fantasma. He was in Lucha Underground.
He was. I didn't watch that far in, but he looks like he has a great look. I'm excited to see him go.
Yeah, he'll be
you'll
wrestling.
enjoy him.
Yeah, next week he'll be wrestling Jack Gallagher. That should be a lot of fun. You're also going to get Kushida against Tony Nese next week, and Drake Maverick against Jake
Kushida
Atlas.
versus Tony Nese. That's a pay-per-view match.
And Finn Balor's facing Velveteen Dream next week as well.
Yep, Balor and Velveteen Dream next week too. Yep.
Oh my God, good for you, NXT. I think you're doing a great job. All right, next
And
match.
I don't know if the Shotzi Tegan Dakota Raquel match is next week or if it's going to be the week after. That's coming up too.
Yeah.
You had
Real quick, her jeans confused me. I thought she was wearing a skirt when she first came out, but like the jeans cut on the bottom, so they flared out a little bit. I was like, is she wearing jeans or a skirt?
Oh, it's Tegan Knox like street fight wear.
Yeah,
Or not Tegan Knox, like Dakota Kai.
Dakota Kai. Yeah, but go ahead. I'm sorry.
And then you had a quick promo with Malcolm Bivens and Edith Sher. I might be saying that wrong.
Mm-hmm.
The big Indian guys. And your main event, it was going to be Matt Riddle and his new temporary partner against the Undisputed Era for the NXT Tag Titles.
This mystery partner.
Pete Dunne is stuck in England. I was so excited when I saw that the mystery partner is Timothy Thatcher.
Yeah, that was a swerve. A good
I love
one.
me some Timothy Thatcher.
Yeah.
I love the catch wrestling. I love it. This was great. All four
Yeah,
of these guys
I
are
like
great.
the team up of Thatcher and Riddle more than I like the team up of Riddle and Dunn. I love them as a team.
Yeah.
I'll take it all.
Thatcher just fits that NXT. If you're looking for more grappling, if you're trying to get like a mat-based thing going on, there's nobody better. He is the guy you want in there. If you can't get Zack Sabre Jr. and some of those other guys, you got Timothy Thatcher. You got an A+ guy when it comes.
Could you
to that
imagine if
stuff.
there was an audience there?
Oh, they would have went nuts. They would have went nuts for that.
Yeah. Good. It was a great match. I mean, anything you put with those four guys is going to be gold.
And they made a count. He tapped Roddy, so it worked.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was smart. Yeah, Timothy Thatcher. I don't know. I explained it to Heather maybe about a year ago. I don't know if you ever got a chance to watch any of his matches. If you just go on YouTube, there's a whole bunch of stuff on like his indies. There's actually a match with him and Minoru Suzuki, and a match with him and Josh Barnett. So I mean, it doesn't get any more legit than those two guys. But he's like Johnny Valentine, where he doesn't hit the ropes. Like he barely goes out. I think like he may use the ropes like belly to belly somebody off it, but like he doesn't go off the ropes. It's like a throwback to like the 50s and 60s.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
Just watch any match between him and Walter. They beat the shit out of each other in Progress.
Yeah. Well, they're a tag team.
Yep.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And he's not a small guy either. He looks the part. He looks like a guy who can take the part.
He's a heavyweight. Yeah, he's a heavyweight.
Yeah.
And then
But NXT was great.
and
And then you had your main event segment. Yep.
go ahead.
Tommaso Ciampa is addressing the camera. It almost looks like a horror movie, and then it becomes a horror movie. He's done with all this with Johnny Gargano. I can't speak now. And Candice LeRae. It's over. And then somebody grabs him from behind, takes him down, and you just see a boot in there too, a woman's boot. And they don't mention who he is, but it's now it's what's he being called now?
Carrying Cross.
Carrying Cross. Yeah.
Yeah.
Carrying is a dead body.
They dropped
like,
dropped Killer, which I can see why that's a thing. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Well, if you are a listener of Tornado Tag Podcast, Brian did call this. He said last week after the match was over, you seen them sitting in the car.
I love that
which-
little touch. That was great.
I seen it was somebody in the car, but I could never tell you who that.
So good catch for
big
Brian. Yeah. So we listen. I'm pretty excited to have Cross on TV, but I'm not going to sit here and lie and say I'm not happy to see Scarlett Bordeaux on TV every week. I'm not going to lie. I'm pretty pumped about that. I think that's going to be really fun.
We might be able to get Ben from Bangin' Beers to watch NXT now.
I never seen that. That is the first time where I took Ben to an actual indie show, and he paid so much attention when she was in the ring. He was like, "Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god!" Like he was freaking out. But he was not at the Katie Forbes match. He would have probably had a heart attack. Yeah. But
Man.
when it
I thought NXT was a very, very strong show. AEW was good too, and you can like anything, but it's all good.
This week was a little off for me. I wasn't into it this much this week.
I loved
Yeah,
AEW
I think
up until the
NXT
end.
was the better show this week.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I think NXT rotating their roster was great. Listen, and here's the thing too. AEW, this is the first week we didn't see Cody in a match. We didn't see like any of the elite really wrestle. So they tried to rotate new people, which I was a fan of. But that ending was that last match kind of killed it for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well,
So
what can you do?
yeah,
I agree.
it wasn't a terrible
Yeah.
show. Was not a terrible show. I just think NXT definitely was the better of the two this week in the Wednesday Night Wars.
I watched them back to back, and I went with AEW first, and NXT was clearly the better show.
Yeah. All right. Well, that'll do it for what pretty much everything we're going to cover here. We'll get real quick here with our quick plugs. What do you? I know there's not much going on, but anything.
I know Matt's got to go, so let's him jump.
Yeah,
the
let
line.
Matt. I didn't play any
take off.
I didn't play any commercials because we had a lot to talk about with the firings and the passing of Finkel. So no commercials this week. We'll bring them back next week, but we'll get some of those commercials out right now with these plugs. But go ahead, Matt.
Let me get my plugs in, then I'm going to tag out. If you guys want to talk to me about anything on the old social media there, hit me up on the Instagram or the Twitter. Just search under Matt Turner. And if you guys look for some fancy new wrestling T-shirts, go over to ProWrestlingTees.com, type in blue and gold. And if you guys are looking for the best supplements, go over to 5% Nutrition and type in M Turner. Save yourself some money. And if you're not sure what supplements to take, like I said, hit me up on the Twitter or the Instagram, and I will be sure to help you out. But hey, guys, I appreciate you having me. You guys have a great night. Be safe and wash your hands.
Yeah. Listen, I appreciate the fact that you're becoming like a regular on the show. I think this is cool having blue and gold every week. So I definitely do appreciate your insight as well as Andy. I think that's what really sets our little local podcast apart is we actually have talent. You know, Andy getting his training with, you know, Chikara and that great stable, and then you getting your training at ROH. It's definitely really cool insider information for just us regular wrestling. Well, I'll say it. We're marks. I know it's weird to use terminology, but
Everybody is.
actually having the actual people who are fans as much as they are entertainers. So I definitely really appreciate you both on the show, and kind of maybe calling it in the power ring is taking a quick break, but it's definitely nice to supplement you guys into the show now.
Yeah, it's like a DVD bonus.
Thank
But,
you.
hey,
Yeah.
thanks, guys, for having me, and be in touch, guys. Be safe.
See you next week. Maybe if you're bored,
See you,
come
brother.
join us on Tuesday night. Not Cool in High School.
Yeah, I don't think I have anything going on this week, so yeah, I will. Maybe I'll take you guys up on that.
Cool. All right, man. Take it easy.
Good night. Bye.
Tyler, do you got anything?
Yeah, you can follow me at Witness Real Wrestling on Facebook. That's where I'll be doing most of my writing from now on. And you can catch me on Chaneo Tag on the Facebook page. I do a lot of my writing on there as well.
Yeah, you make some great posts. You do a great job.
And check out the Heath Slater post I just made because it's pretty hilarious.
It's
But-
amazing.
Blowing up too.
Yeah, it's doing great. Andy, I know he took a lot of the steam with the merch, but
Yeah, so that's about it. I really don't have anything else.
what about that show,
Going
Not
on.
Cool in High School?
Yeah, I mean that's cool. Yeah, I mean but that's already been kind of plugged too.
Yeah.
So yeah, listen to that. Everything on our little network here, and you know I posted pictures of the gear, and a lot of people
People are loving it.
in this time. Yeah, well, I would say a lot of people looking for gear, and a lot of people have some extra money with their stimulus, or maybe if you're like me and you're working but you're not going anywhere, you're just banking money. So
Yeah, you could.
if you're looking for gear, I posted the guy's name that made the Captain Marvel gear. His name is Brawley. He makes fantastic stuff. And the other guy, Armando, who made my Gambit gear and who's making my next set of gear, he makes really good stuff at really great prices. So if
Yeah.
you're looking for gear and you're a pro wrestler, just click on that picture, and then I have the link, and you can message him, and they'll make whatever you need.
Absolutely. And then Brian.
And that's
I am just overwhelmed, and people have started to listen to us through this show, through us being on interviews and the plugs you put everywhere. It has been so overwhelming this past month, the growth that Murder My Dude has been.
Yeah,
Every
man.
time I check our numbers, my mind is blown, and I thank everybody that's checked it out. If you haven't checked it out yet, you can look up Murder My Dude on any podcasting, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, whatever you're using to listen to this. Murder My Dude is going to be on there too. We have merch as well. You can go to projecthumanoid.com and check that out. And we're a comedy, true crime podcast. We 2 hours or so, hour or two every week, and it's just been amazing lately. This week we covered a notorious biker down from right outside of Philly, where I'm from, Robert Mudman Simon. Just a little tidbit of what you can expect on this show. He was called Mudman because while in prison he ate a sandwich containing human feces.
Oh, wow.
Sounds like a sane guy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be completely candid and completely honest with you, man. Like, I know I work really, really hard and I produce a lot of shows, and sometimes I feel like I slip and I falter, but I do. Murder My Dude is definitely on my list, and I listen to it as much as I possibly can, and I am pretty current. I think I'm maybe one behind now, but
nice.
I honestly think you guys put out a great, great, great product. I love the show. I love what you guys do. I'm very thankful that you are both willing to cross over and work with me here on the IWEP network, and I love that respect that we have for one another, and I'm really, really happy that Murder My Dude is catching on, and I definitely think it's well-deserved because you guys do a great, well, there's like a lot going on there in the background, but it's very well-deserved, and you guys do a great, great thing. I know when you guys took a little sciatic there, I was in your ear like, please, can you get this going again? Like, please get it going again.
And I'm very glad we did, because, oh boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh boy, are we growing? Yeah,
it's a great.
It's
like
been
I said,
a lot of fun.
you guys do a great fucking job, and I'm happy that it's blowing up for you guys because you definitely deserve it. And I did send you a request. Here's a cool thing, kind of behind the scenes. Tyrain, who's going to be on our show Monday, he kind of made like a Facebook group chat, and he kind of linked in like 15 to 20 different people from the area who all over the Pennsylvania area who all do podcasts, and we're kind of like bouncing ideas off each other and looking to do collaboration episodes and stuff. So it's really cool to kind of see like a little networking thing starting between just local podcasts and ones I've never even heard of, you know what I mean? So it's really cool to kind of see this community really taking flight here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
definitely.
And then be on the lookout for a new show coming to Project Humanoid called Talking Back.
Talking Back, yeah.
Yeah, Talking
Hopefully
Back.
by June we're shooting for it.
Yeah, so definitely more content coming to the Project Humanoid side. They're going to be the next IWEP network. They're going to have like 15 shows going, and it's going to be great.
And thank you to Canada. Thank you to Canada, because right now Murder My Dude is just as popular as hockey and socialized medicine up there. It's cool.
It's going to be funny because like if we ever get big, it'll be like U.S. and then you guys get big in Canada, and we can do like a Bret Hart Shawn Michaels rivalry. We could act like we hate each other as podcasts, and I'll stick the flag up my nose and hump it on the ground.
If I was going to give the internet an enema, I would stick the hose in IWEP network.
I love this. This is perfect. But yeah, man, great show this week. I'm pretty pumped. We took a really dark situation and kind of hopefully put some light on it and made it a positive spin of these guys getting some great workplaces, and maybe as U.S. fans, maybe not think of it so much as a dark day, but a turning point of what pro wrestling can be now once this all ends. It's not so much saying goodbye to these guys, but giving them a new light in a new company or a new thing where they can develop new characters and let them do what they do as performers and not just be hoarded by a company where they're just going to be hired because they're talented so they don't beat them. Wrestling is we said it at the beginning of the year that 2020 is going to be a huge year for wrestling, and I know that's kind of took a speed bump in the local scene and some things, and just in wrestling in general with this whole Corona. But this Corona thing could even create even a new rebirth of professional wrestling that is going to be even more exciting. So
just think when wrestling does come back, like any show, how hot those shows are going to be, and how
these indie shows are going to be packed.
Matches. Yeah, and even like the first Raw and the first SmackDown are just going to be on fire.
Yeah, people are going to be looking to go crazy. It's going to be.
Everyone's going to want to wrestle that first. That'll be the first time where everyone wants to be in the first match.
Yeah. Dude, I'm pumped. I'm excited. Like, I can't wait to be. Like, I'm already getting goosebumps. Like, I'm looking at my arms. I'm already getting goosebumps to go to our first show. You know what I mean? And kind of be like, and see people kind of getting in the building again and be like, we're here. You know what I mean? Like, I can't wait to do that again. And like how just kind of behind the scenes with me and Brian going to a wrestling show. Like, before we went as fans, and now we kind of go and we have something to do. Like that. It's exciting to do again. Like I kind of took it for granted, because I never took it for granted, but kind of going to a wrestling show and getting there at the same time as a talent and seeing people prepare, and then we're setting up our own things and going around getting like, I'm excited to do that again, because that like.
Yeah, and it's so weird because I mean, and I'm sure it's this way for Andy because these are his coworkers. But even for the little bit that we did, it's like, man, I miss seeing Paul Bowe every month. I miss seeing Scott. I miss seeing
I've
Adina
been
and Chris
talking to
Banks, all
Scott
these people.
so much, and and just trying to be up to date with people on social media. Like, I can't wait to see everybody again. Like, it's just gonna be one of those things. We're probably not gonna be allowed to touch each other, but it's gonna be hard not to see.
Yeah,
like,
no handshakes. Maybe I'm not a wrestler, so I can't speak to your fraternity, Andy. Maybe rethink the handshakes.
No, I don't. Listen, I'm going to be completely honest, man. I go to a show. The first time I see you motherfuckers, the first time eye to eye, you thought I was a hugger before. I'm going to be emotional, bro. I'm going to be happy to physically see people again. I'm going to be hugging everybody.
You ain't hugging my
Don't use
ass.
I'm hugging.
Yeah,
I'm going to kiss you right on the mouth, Tyler. That's what's happening.
I'm gonna kiss you. Here's what I say.
If you're gonna kiss me on the mouth, it better be tongue, big boy.
I'm bringing all the time. I'm bringing the heat, brother.
If you don't want to shake someone's hand and then you get in the ring and you roll around with them for 15 minutes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like how Guevara walks on the ring and does the elbow just to be funny. But yeah, man, I just really I think this is a good show, and it was a good way to put a positive spin on a thing that could be really deemed as a dark day in wrestling. But
it's not bad for a lot of those people.
No.
I mean, some people it is, but some
it's a rebirth. It's really a
not bad,
rebirth.
yeah.
This is a reboot for some people's careers, and some bigger than others. And there might be like, we're talking how Rusev can be a big thing, or Zack Ryder is possibly a shoe-in. You might get a guy like we've been kind of saying, like a Leo Rush or somebody else who might just go to a company and be a megastar. You never know.
What if this somehow turns into No Way Jose being the next Steve Austin?
Exactly. No Way Jose goes to a company and blows up. Heath Slater goes somewhere and just
he
gets
just starts 5-star general. He becomes like
he does the Juice Robinson thing where he goes to New Japan Dojo and all of a sudden he's just like,
You're like,
this
wow,
amazing
this guy's
worker.
Listen, man, the possibilities are endless. The possibilities are endless. And you know what? And realistically, I hope that happens, because it goes to show that, like, anyone, like these guys who, there's a reason why WWE signed them in the first place. You know what I mean? Like, it's like going there. It's like going there.
I just thought of it.
Yeah.
This is perfect. No Way Jose could turn heel, and he could be like, "Yes way, Jose."
yes way.
Or he could be a misogynist and be No Way Ho.
Yeah.
Oh, I like it. I like it a lot.
That's not gonna fly in 2020, Brian. Come on.
That's not
They
gonna work,
they can
yeah.
do a gimmick where there's a guy who wants him out of his country because he's Hispanic, and he's like, "No way, Jose, I'm not leaving USA."
Oh my.
Hey, I'm down. You sold me.
It'd be great.
Oh my.
Like, they just keep trying to put walls up, and he just like walks around the side of it, like, "No way, Jose." It'd be great.
He's Dominican. He's not Mexican, but I still get it.
Yeah, well, listen, in pro wrestling, he's brown. Nobody will know the difference.
Yeah.
If you're not white and you're Hispanic, you're already. That's how most people think anyway. So it'll work.
And real quick before we finish up the show, one thing we forgot to plug, and we probably should, as far as local podcasts, PPW brought back their podcast.
Yes,
Keeping it real.
Keeping it
We're
real,
looking at
and
that.
we did talk about that last week. And I didn't get to play Kurt's podcast, his plug, but go check out the PPW's new podcast, Talking Back, which is now on Anchor, so you can definitely go
Keeping It
check that.
Real. Keeping It Real.
Keeping It Real. So that's on Anchor, so that's going to be everywhere. So just search Keeping It Real, and then check out the PA Pile Driver podcast. They're doing a lot of cool stuff, and then obviously our boys over at the Wicked Turtles. So there's 3 wrestling podcasts that you can check out.
High Tension has started the podcast too as well.
Yep, High Tension, and then oh my god, the Original Rope Break. Check those guys out also. So a lot of really cool wrestling podcasts that we're good friends with, and go check those guys out. And everyone does a great job. And if you guys are listening and you wanna kind of work something out, let me know. And if you're a wrestler listening, I am looking for interviews as well. I will say that in the intro of the show also.
Yeah, I think King Leon was the first guest on the High Tension podcast.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I seen that.
Awesome. All right, well, guys, that'll wrap it up for here at Tornado Tech Podcast TTP. Thank you guys once again for calling in. I think we're definitely we didn't get another intro in, but we got a lot to talk about. We took a long break, and we're just excited to speak to humans again. So we do have a topic in the back burner. We will get it going again, but I thought this was a really good flow.
There's so much news we didn't really need to
Yeah.
talk.
It's so funny. Like on Sunday, you're thinking, there's not a lot to talk about. Oh, and then you wish there wasn't a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
So it was one
The
of those
wrestling
things.
world has definitely been keeping us busy. So thank you guys for the support. We'll see you guys next week, and we're out.